Chapter 78. Why? Today's second update. I'm asking for monthly votes. You can add Old Juan's WeChat official account. In the future, I'll inform you of updates, special events, and other events on my WeChat official account. Search for Old Guanzhong or Xlorin on my WeChat official account. Lu Jingcheng suddenly thought of this, saying, a man in his 50s who had been through a lot was actually suppressed by a young man who was not even 30 years old. In this society, people who did not play by the rules and risk their lives were the most feared. Do you think I will let you go after saying such harsh words? Why should I kill you? I have many ways to make you wish you were dead. Lu Jingcheng forced himself to say these words for the sake of his dignity. He thought it was an ordinary matter, but he did not expect it to be so tricky. If he really got entangled in this matter, he was afraid that he would be the one to suffer in the end. Was he going to let it go just like that? When Qin Sheng heard this, he already knew that Lu Jingcheng had no way to deal with him. He laughed and said, I know that this is a society ruled by law. People like you can use power, wealth, and connections to play with the law. For example, you can accuse me of a crime and send me to jail. This kind of thing is common and not rare. But like I said, you're not strong enough. If you send me to jail, I will be able to come out in a few days. By then, I will deal with you. We will not be sitting here peacefully talking and drinking tea. No matter what, you only have one chance. Lu Jingcheng stopped talking and fell into deep thought. Do you know why I want to see you? If I don't want to see you, it is impossible for these people to bring me here. If you don't believe me, you can ask them. They know better than you. Qin Sheng continued. I just don't want to get into trouble. It is not good to always let others clean up my mess. It is not good to be owed a favor. It is best if I can solve it myself. Lu Jingcheng began to hesitate. He really did not know how to deal with Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng laughed and stood up. He looked at an orchid in the private room and said thoughtfully, Do you know Third Master Wu? When Lu Jingcheng heard this name, his expression changed instantly. How could he not know this name at his level? How about this? I'll give you a way out. Let's each take a step back. I'll go to the hospital to visit your son later as an apology. As for what you say to your son, that's up to you. Qin Sheng took a step back and took the initiative to reconcile. It all depended on whether Lu Jingcheng would agree to it or not. Lu Jingcheng nodded. Lu Jingcheng stared at Qin Sheng and thought about it. Qin Sheng leaned on the table and sighed. All right, it's getting late. I'll go back first. It's your business whether you agree or not. If you want to continue to cause me trouble, you can ask your son about me later. Then, with your ability, it shouldn't be difficult for you to find a way to find some information. If you are angry and want to kill you, please find a few experts. I can even make Third Master Wu's trusted subordinate, Yang Deng, go back with injuries. With just a few minions like you are far from being able to do that. Qin Sheng leaned on the table and sighed. Well, it's getting late. I'll go back first. It's your business whether you agree or not. If you want to continue to cause trouble for me, you can ask your son about me later. Then, with your ability, it shouldn't be difficult for you to find some ways to find out something. You're not good enough. This was why Qin Sheng had mentioned Third Master Wu just now. It was to suppress Lu Jingcheng in the end. After saying this, Qin Sheng felt that this matter had come to an end. He turned around with a smile and slowly walked out of the door. He did not forget to pat the burly man's shoulder a few times. He felt that these few brothers were quite interesting. It was a pity that they were not the type to be ruthless. Lu Jingcheng looked at Qin Sheng's back and did not dare to stop him. A young man had spoken so casually in front of him. If Qin Sheng did not have some skills, he would not believe it. After all, he was a man who had read many people. He could see this point. Most importantly, the last sentence said that Third Master Wu was not afraid of him. Why would he be afraid of him? In the end, Lu Jingcheng could only sigh and wave his hand to signal the two burly men from Shandong to leave. This time, his son had suffered a loss, and it was also a lesson for him. It was better to keep a low profile in the future. Shanghai was such a big place. It was not good to have people with hidden talents. He was just a small deputy director level cadre who could not make any waves. In the end, he would not even know how he died. After coming out of the tea house, Qin Sheng took a taxi back to Shilin Huayuan. He muttered in his heart that he still had to spend tens of dollars on the taxi fare. These days, at least send me back. On the way back, Qin Sheng called Xia Ding. After the call was connected, he said, Lu Qingfeng's matter has been settled. I just met his father. There should be no more problems. Boss, how did you settle it? Xia Ding, who was working overtime in the company, asked curiously. Qin Sheng said, half-truthfully, through threats and promises. I told him that I was a lonely man with no family to worry about. If he really pushed me, I would kill his whole family. Believe it or not, he gave in instantly. Then I conveniently gave him a way out. I told him that he would go to the hospital to visit his son and take care of him in the future. If he still wants to fight to the death, then let's have a good fight. If one day your son goes missing, don't blame me for not telling you in advance. Ha ha ha, really? Xia Ding put his legs on the office table and laughed. Qin Sheng said happily, it must be true. Otherwise, how could I solve it? I'm just a small person with a small nose and small eyes. I have no money and no father. What can I do? I can only fight with my life. Boss, you are still ruthless. Anyway, you scare him first. With his poor background, we really don't care. If he really dares to hurt you, then I will show up, Xia Ding said indifferently. Qin Sheng was very pleased and said, it's good to hear that. By the way, have you and Su Qin contacted each other these days? I have a feeling that you might rekindle your old love. Xia Ding lit a cigarette and asked deliberately. If Qin Sheng did not explain it that day, he really blamed Su Qin wrongly. But after all, they were first love. It would be best if there could be a result. Last night, after dinner with my colleagues, I went to Young Bar. I don't know why she also came in the end. She sat for a while and then left. Qin Sheng thought of what happened last night and still could not understand it. How could it be so coincidental? Hearing this, Xia Ding laughed and said, you actually went to Young Bar. Boss, it seems that Su Qin still can't let you go in her heart. Otherwise, she would not directly go to you. What do you mean? Qin Sheng was even more confused. Xia Ding deliberately kept Qin Sheng in suspense and said, then you should not know who the new boss of Young Bar is, right? When Xia Ding said this, Qin Sheng already knew the answer. His face began to become complicated. As expected, Xia Ding slowly said, the new boss is Su Qin. Even though he had already thought of it, hearing this answer, Qin Sheng could not help but be a little shocked. Then he figured out a lot of things, such as why Su Qin appeared in the bar in professional clothes last night, and why Kong Zi would be familiar with him. The result was obviously that Su Qin already knew that he returned to Shanghai when he went to Young Bar the last 2 times. Then why did Su Qin always choose to be silent? Boss, are you surprised? Xia Ding said proudly. He did not know that Qin Sheng had been to Young Bar several times before. Qin Sheng was in a bad mood at the moment. He did not want to continue to entangle this topic, so he directly changed the topic. I have to go to Nanjing the day after tomorrow. What for? Xia Ding did not think much and asked. Qin Sheng said casually, to accompany a member of Shangshan Ruoshui to do something. That's good. Then you can find Laosi and let Nanjing Young Master take you there. You can also meet our sister-in-law and help him check. Xia Ding sighed and said, I'm a little busy these 2 days, or I will go with you for 2 days. Let's talk about it when we have time. Anyway, there will be opportunities in the future, Qin Sheng said absent-mindedly. Xia Ding quickly said, don't, boss. Don't talk about it when you have time. If you don't tell him when you go to Nanjing, he will probably blacklist you later. Anyway, at least see him. Okay, I got it, Qin Sheng said in a low voice. I don't want to talk to you. Talk to you later. After hanging up the phone, Qin Sheng was lost in thought. Why did Su Qin want to take over Young Bar? Why did she know that he was back, but did not take the initiative to contact him? Was she angry or had other reasons? After returning to Shilin Huayuan, Qin Sheng changed his clothes and went directly to the gym. He completely vented his anger. Now, he had become a popular person in the gym. Everyone admired his muscles very much. There were a few beautiful women who often went to the gym and took the initiative to hit on Qin Sheng. They wanted to leave their phone numbers and WeChat numbers so that they could go on a date later. But Qin Sheng turned a blind eye to them. After a while, Hao Lei and Chang Baji also came. Chang Baji did not reject these beautiful women, especially a few young married women. He teased those beautiful women and made them laugh. After coming back from the gym, Qin Sheng told Changbaji and Hao Lei that he had to go to Nanjing the day after tomorrow. The two did not ask much and just told Qin Sheng to be careful. After 2 days of uneventful work, Qin Sheng once again asked for leave for Su Lancheng, and Mizzen Su Lancheng was already used to it. Anyway, in his eyes, Qin Sheng would be the person in charge of Shangshan Roshue sooner or later. He was just accompanying the prince to study. As usual, Mizzen lectured Qin Sheng and told him not to be sloppy. It was rare to have such a platform, and he should cherish it. It will be very helpful for his future. But this time, Qin Sheng did not hide it. He directly told Mizzen that he would accompany Miss Shui to Nanjing to deal with some private matters. Hearing this reason, Mizzen directly let him go. Being able to have deeper contact with the members, the relationship would naturally become closer. Not everyone had such an opportunity, let alone a top member like Miss Shui. After work and returning to Shilin Huayuan, Miss Chong Sam had already called Qin Sheng. She was on her way. This time, she would go to Nanjing for 2 or 3 days, maybe even longer. She asked Qin Sheng to bring some clothes to change. Before leaving, Qin Sheng also told Han Bing that he had not seen Han Bing for a few days. Hao Lei said that Han Bing was also very busy these 2 days, so Qin Sheng did not disturb her. As for Su Qin, they had not contacted each other since that night. Su Qin did not send any messages to Qin Sheng, and Qin Sheng did not take the initiative to contact her. Ms. Chong Sam's driver sent them to Hongqiao, and then took the high-speed train to Nanjing. Ms. Chong Sam had already arranged things in Nanjing. Qin Sheng only went to Nanjing in the last semester of his senior year, and that was when he found out about Yu Kefi's family. "Did you forget anything?" After getting on the car, Ms. Chong Sam asked softly. Qin Sheng took the initiative to sit in the front passenger seat. He was still self-aware and did not take himself seriously. Ms. Chong Sam was dressed casually today, in a windbreaker and jeans. She looked quite young, but had a unique temperament. Just 2 clothes, nothing to bring. Qin Sheng laughed. Shui Qingyan brought a suitcase with 3 sets of clothes for different occasions, cosmetics, shoes, and so on. She sighed and said, "It is still comfortable to be a man. No matter if it is a man or a woman, it is very tiring." Qin Sheng's words had a double meaning. Naturally, there was a meaning in it, but Shui Qingyan did not understand the meaning. Otherwise, she would definitely teach Qin Sheng a lesson. Now he even dared to make a dirty joke. He was really bold. She just laughed and scolded. "Young man, don't be so pessimistic." Qin Sheng laughed and did not say anything. Chapter 79. Bad Intentions. Jinling Emperor State, the land of the 6 dynasties. Nanjing was an interesting city. Wang Engshi said that since ancient times, the Emperor State had been lush and beautiful, but had been a dream for 400 years. Xian Qiji also wrote, "Give the benefits of the country to the public." This year, Yinzi still recognized that Wang Xie was romantic. In the eyes of historical scholars, Nanjing had always been regarded as a place with the king's aura and was suitable to be the emperor's capital. Nanjing was surrounded by Zhongshan Dragon in the east, Shitushan Tiger in the west, Qinhuai River in the south, and Xuanwu Lake in the north, which formed the 4 beasts of feng shui: Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu. However, it was said that in the early Qin dynasty, Qin Shi Huang ordered people to break stones and dig Qinhuai River to release the king's aura, so that the dragon vein was broken and the king's aura was released. Since then, all the dynasties with the capital in Nanjing had a short life. The Ming dynasty also moved its capital to Beijing in the 2nd generation. In recent years, Nanjing's economy had obviously fallen behind the 3 cities of Suzhou, Xichang, and Changzhou. Whether in the cultural or business circles, Nanjing lacked people who could influence the whole country. If the territory of China was seen as the 9 palaces and 8 diagrams, Nanjing was the death gate, which was why most of the dynasties with the capital in Nanjing had a short life. Nanjing was too gloomy. The Zhongshan Mausoleum, Yuhua Terrace, Ming Shaoling Mausoleum, Memorial Hall for the victims of the Great Massacre, and the mass graves distributed in the city had a sense of death. The ancient people used the Yangtze River as a natural moat to to stop the invasion from the north, but they didn't consider the taboo of feng shui. If the water flowed too fast, it would not be able to gather qi, and it would take away the luck. Therefore, Nanjing was a very complicated and contradictory city. At least every time Qin Sheng came to Nanjing, he felt very uncomfortable. It was already 8 o'clock at night when the high-speed train arrived at Nanjing South Railway Station. Xue Qingyan, who was sitting by the window, had been catching up on sleep. Qin Sheng was reading the book, The Gains and Losses of China's History. He didn't know who the previous owner of the book was, but there were a lot of notes in it, especially about the current global political situation, which made Qin Sheng feel quite interesting. For example, the relationship and contradictions between socialism, conservatism, and liberalism. The 10 yuan was really worth it. After the high-speed train stopped, Xue Qingyan stretched herself and said lazily, "Finally, we're here. Every time, the most helpless thing is to go on a business trip." However, her voice was too tempting. Qin Sheng put the books into his bag and took out Xue Qingyan's suitcase. The two of them lined up and were about to get off the bus. He smiled and said, "Sister Xue, you should resign. Find a place with mountains and rivers to retire and pursue a natural life." Xue Qingyan shook her head and said, "You've even learned to talk back. This is my life, and I'm more used to this kind of life. People are cheap. When they're busy, they'll feel tired. When they're too idle, they're easy to be unreasonable." This was the truth. As long as one was human, there would always be bad habits. You like reading? There were not many young people who liked to read. Firstly, they were too playful. Secondly, they had no time. But usually, the more successful people were, the more they liked to read. It had been like this since ancient times. Some young people liked to read, but many of them were pretending. Xue Qingyan woke up several times and found that Qin Sheng was reading very seriously. She also found that there were a lot of notes on it. Obviously, this was not the first time he had read this book. For a book, one had to read it at least 3 times to really understand the author's meaning. So, Xue Qingyan knew that Qin Sheng was really reading and not pretending. If you're ugly, you should read more. I'm ugly. Not to mention, Qin Sheng smiled a little embarrassedly. Xue Qingyan looked at Qin Sheng's profile. In her eyes, Qin Sheng was not ugly, nor very handsome. But this young man made people feel comfortable. His eyes were especially clean and easy to make people feel close to. So she smiled and said, "Don't be self-deprecating. Although you're not a little fresh meat, you're still considered good-looking. Anyway, reading more is a good habit. In this way, you can constantly enrich yourself and not be eliminated by the times." They walked and chatted until they reached the exit. Xue Qingyan said that someone had been arranged to pick them up. When they came out, the staff of the Nanjing branch hurriedly greeted them and respectfully said, "Manager Xue." The others also took over the suitcases and bags from Qin Sheng's hands. Xue Qingyan casually said, "Let's go." When they were ready to leave, another woman and 2 men came to greet them. They smiled politely to Xue Qingyan and said, "You must be Manager Xue. Manager Du asked us to pick you up. He has been waiting for you at the Jinling Hotel to welcome you." Xue Qingyan's face changed slightly. Only the company's insiders knew that she was coming to Nanjing. How did Du Jiang know? Obviously, there was an undercover inside who revealed her schedule. "No, I want to go back to the hotel to rest first. Let's meet directly at your company tomorrow." Xue Qingyan politely refused. The woman was obviously a little embarrassed. The 2 men behind her showed anger and said, "Manager Xue, Manager Du has been waiting for you for a long time. You should give him face. Besides, don't make things difficult for us. If Manager Du doesn't see you, it will be difficult for us to explain." Several people took turns to do it. Xue Qingyan was in a dilemma. If she did not give them face, the next work would definitely not be cooperative. This matter would be very troublesome after all. Xue Qingyan had no choice but to agree. "Since Manager Du is so kind, let's go." Hearing this, the other party finally smiled happily. Xue Qingyan had to ask the company's staff to put the luggage back to the hotel first. She would go to the hotel for the dinner. The company sent 2 cars, so Xue Qingyan did not take the other car. Qin Sheng took the initiative to be the driver and took a Passat. Only Xue Qingyan sat in this car. The others were in the other car. Qin Sheng, how is your drinking capacity? Xue Qingyan was most afraid of drinking in this kind of social occasion. After drinking, she would not be able to talk things out. Her body would be uncomfortable, and she would not be able to work tomorrow. Qin Sheng did not dare to guarantee. He said very modestly, "It's okay. A caddy of white wine should not be a problem. If they urge us to drink later, I will rely on you to drink. If you can make them drunk, it will be better. In this way, we can retreat unscathed." Xue Qingyan pinned her hope on Qin Sheng. She felt pity for Qin Sheng. If things went well this time, she would definitely repay Qin Sheng later. Qin Sheng smiled faintly and said, "Sister, don't worry. I am here." Inadvertently, Qin Sheng had called Xue Qingyan from Sister Xue to sister. Xue Qingyan heard it, but she did not say anything. It was just a title. Jinling Hotel was an old and famous restaurant in Nanjing. It was also the first five-star hotel in Nanjing. Most people would choose this kind of old and famous restaurant to entertain foreign VIPs. After arriving at Jinling Hotel, Mr. Du's men directly led Qin Sheng to the private room of the Chinese restaurant of Jinling Hotel. In addition to Du Jiang, there was a vice president of their company. In addition, there was also the general manager of Xue Qingyan's company in Nanjing. The three of them were talking and laughing. After Xue Qingyan pushed the door and entered, she saw the general manager of their company. She could not help frowning. It seemed that the news of her coming to Nanjing might be revealed by this person. "Oh, Miss Xue, you're finally here." Du Jiang, who had a strong sense of Jianghu, smiled at Qin Sheng. He walked slowly to Xue Qingyan and took the initiative to reach out his hand. Out of politeness, Xue Qingyan also politely reached out her hand and replied, "Sorry to let Mr. Du wait for so long." "Not at all. This is what I should do. I wanted to go to the station to pick you up, but I was delayed by something. Miss Xue, I hope you don't mind." Du Jiang held Xue Qingyan's hand tightly and even rubbed it intentionally or unintentionally. He did not intend to let go at all, like an old hooligan. Qin Sheng's face was calm. He looked at Du Jiang up and down. He was either evil or deceitful. No wonder the project of Ms. Chong Sam's company would have problems. This kind of person would definitely not do things down to earth. He was more willing to take shortcuts. Du Jiang did not let go of her hand, which made Xue Qingyan very disgusted. She calmly wanted to pull her hand out. Du Jiang quickly let go of her hand and smiled awkwardly. "Come on, Manager Xue, sit down quickly." At this time, the other two men also stood up to greet Xue Qingyan. They just shook hands with Xue Qingyan from Du Jiang's company. As for the person in charge of the Nanjing branch, Xue Qingyan said with interest, "I didn't expect Mr. Li to be here. Miss Xue, I was going to pick you up, but the company has been too busy recently, so I asked my secretary to do it. Just after the meeting, Mr. Du kept calling and said that he wanted to hold a dinner for you, so I came over." The person in charge was also cunning. He knew that he came without telling Xue Qingyan, which obviously made her very uncomfortable, so he quickly explained. Xue Qingyan smiled very playfully. "Oh, I see." Later, Du Jiang was ready to come over, but he was stopped by Qin Sheng. "Hello, Mr. Du. I am Miss Xue's assistant." Qin Sheng also reached out to greet Mr. Du. Du Jiang reached out his hand very perfunctorily. When the two just shook hands, Du Jiang was ready to pull out his hand. He took Xue Qingyan seriously, but he did not put Qin Sheng, a small assistant, in his eyes. But who knew that at this time, Qin Sheng had already squeezed his hand hard. Du Jiang wanted to pull out his hand, but he could not. On the contrary, Qin Sheng secretly squeezed Du Jiang's hand. Du Jiang's hand had been held red, but no one noticed it. Du Jiang looked down at his red hand and then looked up at Qin Sheng. His eyes were full of anger, which meant, "What do you mean, boy?" Qin Sheng stared back at Du Jiang with a smile. Just when Du Jiang was about to explode and others were about to notice this side, Qin Sheng slowly let go of Du Jiang's hand and sat next to Xue Qingyan with a smile, leaving only Du Jiang, who was angry. This was Qin Sheng's show of strength, and also a kind reminder. Du Jiang cursed a few times in his heart, but he did not take it seriously. He slowly sat back to his seat and began to order the waiter to serve the dishes. Then he asked, Miss Xue, you are a guest from afar. We welcome you. Let's have a drink. Mr. Du, I still have business to do tomorrow, so I won't drink today. When things are done, let's celebrate. How about it? Xue Qingyan said with a smile. Du Jiang naturally did not agree and said, Hey, how can this be? That's a different thing. Life should be happy. I have heard of Miss Xue's name for a long time. It is said that you are a great beauty. Seeing you today, you really did not let me down. How can we not drink? Xue Qingyan had no choice. Anyway, she knew that they were going to drink. She looked at Qin Sheng and finally could only say, since Mr. Du said so, then drink a little but not too much. You can rest assured. Du Jiang laughed. Therefore, before the dishes were served, 3 bottles of Maotai had been placed on the table. Du Jiang asked the waiter to quickly distribute the wine. When there was no one on the table and the wine divider was full, Du Jiang directly began to raise his glass. Chapter 80. She didn't do it well. Second update. Looking for monthly votes, looking for collections, everyone's support. Xue Qingyan's investment company was not small. It had 3 major departments: asset management, private equity, and angel investment. Xue Qingyan was the managing director. This time, the asset management department was in trouble. The president of the asset management department in charge of this project was her confidant. In the case of the uneven internet finance, the risk control and project follow-up were not done well, which led to the 200 million capital being in a state of risk, which could become bad debt at any time. The board of directors already knew about this, so Xue Qingyan went to Nanjing in person. Du Jiang came from an unorthodox background. He used to be a master of all trades. Later, he gradually got on the right track and set up a company with many businesses, mainly in entertainment, construction, and usury. Later, he saw that others engaged in finance and made a lot of money. He felt that he had a wide network and there was no lack of feasible projects, so he also started to do it. He hired a large group of financial practitioners, and with the endorsement of the government's reputation, it was in full swing. Who knew that the battle line was getting bigger and bigger? Several projects were now stillborn or half-dead because of the involvement of fallen officials. Du Jiang saw that something was going to happen, so he had to start a Ponzi scheme to attract many private funds with a high rate of return on investment. He knew that the matter would be exposed sooner or later, so he had already begun to transfer the funds and was ready to run away. Xue Qingyan's investment company had a particularly large network. The background of the chairman was extremely deep, and the identity of the 8 members of the board of directors was also intriguing. So she knew in advance these risks, so she sent Xue Qingyan. This glass of wine is to welcome Manager Xue, the great beauty, to our Nanjing. Since ancient times, there have been many beautiful women in Qinhuai, but in my opinion, they are not as beautiful as Manager Xue. Du Jiang raised his glass and said, Qinsheng definitely could not replace the first 3 glasses of wine, so there was nothing he could do. He thought that Miss Chong Sam could handle it. Manager Li echoed, That's for sure. Our Manager Xue is the first beauty in the company. The whole Shanghai Bund wants to pursue our Manager Xue from the Bund to Pudong. If I were not married, I would definitely pursue Manager Xue. The vice president of Du Jiang's company also said with a smile. Beautiful women would be surrounded by stars wherever they went, let alone meeting a group of experienced people. Xue Qingyan smiled faintly and said, You guys really think too highly of me. How can I be called a beauty? Anyway, let's toast to the great beauty Xue first. Du Jiang laughed. He finished his glass of wine. Du Jiang then said, For the second glass of wine, let Mr. Xue say a few words. I have nothing to say. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to welcome me. Secondly, I hope that the work this time can be completed smoothly. I also hope that you can take care of me so that I can go back and report to my superiors. Xue Qingyan did not talk much nonsense. She was very practical and very simple. After she finished speaking, she raised her head and drank the second glass of wine. Her alcohol tolerance was not bad, but she could not drink too much today. Manager Xue is really a heroine, Du Jiang said with admiration. However, The desire for Xue Qingyan in his eyes did not escape Qin Sheng's notice. Mr. Xue is a good drinker, so of course we have to keep up. Come, come, come. Mr. Li livened up the atmosphere. Qin Sheng drank the glass of wine unhurriedly, but also quietly looked at these three men. No matter what he did, he must look at the overall situation. This was Qin Sheng's characteristic. Although Xue Qingyan's company's affairs had nothing to do with him, he wanted to protect Xue Qingyan. So he had to figure out the relationship between these three people today so that there would not be any accidents. They echoed each other and obviously cooperated very well. For the third glass of wine, let Mr. Li say a few words. Mr. Li has worked hard in Nanjing without complaint. In the future, I hope that Mr. Xue will say a few good words in front of the senior management of your company, Du Jiang said. Only Mr. Li was qualified here. Mr. Li was not polite. He picked up the glass and said, Mr. Du has already said what I want to say. If I say more, it will be long-winded. Bottoms up first. 3 glasses of wine were finished. Qin Sheng saw that Xue Qingyan's face changed slightly. Obviously, she was a little uncomfortable. Just at this time, the dishes were finally served. Qin Sheng quickly said, Finally, the dishes are served. Mr. Xue did not even eat dinner and rushed over. Oh, really? Then hurry up and eat first. It is our lack of consideration. Mr. Li was more or less on Xue Qingyan's side. After all, she was the company's managing director and held the power of life and death. If they offended her, they would have a hard time in the future. Xue Qingyan had time to eat, otherwise she would be really uncomfortable. Xue Qingyan ate, but Qin Sheng did not eat. His goal tonight was to defeat Du Jiang first. As long as he defeated Du Jiang, others would definitely not dare to make trouble. So he directly picked up the glass and said, Mr. Du, let me toast you first. I was a little distracted just now. Please don't take it to heart. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he did not give Du Jiang a chance to decline. He directly raised his head and drank. Du Jiang laughed and said, Qin Sheng, this little brother is really forthright. I like it. After that, Qin Sheng picked up the glass and toasted Mr. Li and Mr. Zhao. Finally, he picked up another glass of wine and casually made up a reason. I may come to Nanjing in the future to develop. I hope you can help me at that time. This glass of wine is to the 3 bosses. Please don't think I am troublesome at that time. After that, Qin Sheng drank again. Anyway, I will not give you a chance. In one breath, Qin Sheng drank 4 glasses of wine in a row, but he did not feel anything. Anyway, when it came to drinking, one should not be afraid of wine. The more one was afraid, the easier one would get drunk. The more one enjoyed it, the more one immersed in it. This was Qin Sheng's conclusion. Qin Sheng finally took a breath and began to eat. After eating 2 mouthfuls, he sent a WeChat message to Xue Qingyan. In a while, you answer a few phone calls in the middle. I will call you secretly. Later, go to the bathroom and leave the rest to me. When Xue Qingyan picked up her mobile phone and saw the WeChat message, she was somewhat surprised. She did not expect Qin Sheng to have so many tricks. She nodded silently to tell Qin Sheng that she understood. After Xue Qingyan ate 2 mouthfuls, Du Jiang and the others toasted her alone. She could not escape from these 3 glasses of wine. She still had to give her face. As for the next step, Qin Sheng began his own tricks. He had already held the mobile phone in his hand and hidden it in his trouser pocket. He quietly dialed Xue Qingyan's number. Xue Qingyan slowly stood up and said, Excuse me, I have to answer the phone. After Xue Qingyan left, Qin Sheng started to lose his temper. He fought against 3 people at the same time and started to toast the 3 bosses with all kinds of reasons. He even suggested to play games. For Qin Sheng, it was the easiest to escape from drinking while playing games. Any game depended on rules and luck. Tonight, he was quite lucky and won several times in a row. After a while, Xue Qingyan felt that it was almost time. She came back. She knew that Qin Sheng drank a lot, so she took the initiative to toast Du Jiang and the others. They had to give face to Beauty Xue, which could also relieve Qin Sheng's pressure. In this way, Xue Qingyan and Qin Sheng cooperated several times. In less than an hour, 3 bottles of wine were all drunk. Then Du Jiang asked for 3 more bottles. In the end, Qin Sheng tried his best to avoid drinking so that his brain could stay sober. He must not have a blackout. In the end, he got Du Jiang and the other two drunk. Among the three of them, only Du Jiang could hold his liquor well. The others were all trash with a fighting capacity of 5. Qin Sheng and Du Jiang both drank nearly 1 liter. The other two had already fainted when they drank more than 1 liter. Shui Qingyan drank less than half a liter. Therefore, Qin Sheng successfully completed the task. Du Jiang and the others were sent back by her subordinates. Shui Qingyan also arranged for the company's employees to pick them up and take them back to the hotel. She supported Qin Sheng to walk out. Although Qin Sheng said that he was fine, Shui Qingyan was still worried. After all, Qin Sheng drank so much. Shui Qingyan used to hate men who were drunk, especially when they were drunk. She really could not stand it. Tonight, she did not hate Qin Sheng at all. She was more distressed because she knew how uncomfortable it was to drink too much. After all, Qin Sheng drank for her. When Shui Qingyan took the initiative to put Qin Sheng's arm on her shoulder, Qin Sheng's whole body almost leaned on her. At this moment, Qin Sheng felt that tonight's drinking was really not in vain. This was the first time he had intimate contact with Ms. Chong Sam. He even unscrupulously sniffed the fragrance of Ms. Chong Sam's hair and muttered to himself, "So fragrant." "What did you say?" Shui Qingyan asked curiously. Qin Sheng did not dare to explain. However, he did not dare to be unscrupulous. He tried to stay sober. However, before he took a few steps, the two subordinates who came to pick them up arrived. They quickly took Qin Sheng from Shui Qingyan's hands. In the car, the two subordinates sat in the front. Qin Sheng and Shui Qingyan sat in the back. Shui Qingyan told the driver to drive slowly and not to bump, or Qin Sheng would definitely vomit. "Qin Sheng, are you okay?" Shui Qingyan asked again. Qin Sheng leaned against the window and looked at the night view of Xinjiku. He said casually, "Sister, I'm fine." His eyes were a little blurred, but he seemed to be more sober than before. "It's all thanks to you tonight. Otherwise, I would be the one drunk. But you're really good at drinking. You can make 3 people drunk." The result of this meal surprised Shui Qingyan. She did not expect Qin Sheng to be so powerful. Qin Sheng said disapprovingly, "It's not that I'm good at drinking, it's that they are too stupid." "As if you're so smart." Shui Qingyan laughed. Qin Sheng said proudly, "I'm very smart. My grandfather told me when I was young that if I were in the ancient times, I would either be a capable minister or a talented general." "You're getting more and more excited. I think you really drank too much." Shui Qingyan stared at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng sighed and said, "It's good to drink too much. Some people can't get drunk even if they want to." "Then are you drunk?" Shui Qingyan did not understand what Qin Sheng meant and asked casually. Qin Sheng turned around and stared at Shui Qingyan affectionately. He shook his head firmly and said, "No, how can I drink too much?" But after he said this, before Shui Qingyan could come back to her senses, Qin Sheng felt his stomach churning and it was about to burst. In order not to let Ms. Chong Sam blacklist him, Qin Sheng had to shout, "Driver, stop the car, stop the car." The subordinate who was driving was not surprised at all. He knew that Qin Sheng might be about to vomit, so he quickly stepped on the brake and stopped the car by the roadside. Before the car stopped, Qin Sheng opened the door and rushed out, throwing up unscrupulously. Chapter 81. A small trick when men were together. If there was no wine, they would always feel that something was missing. The atmosphere would never reach the climax, and the relationship would not be able to develop further. Especially for social occasions, wine was indispensable. That was why there was a unique drinking culture in China. However, no matter how much wine they drank, they were often the ones who felt uncomfortable, especially those young people. They would always play the hero at the drinking table. They always thought that whoever drank the most and who could drink the most was the best. For example, Qin Sheng, who was vomiting at this moment, was squatting on the ground and could not get up. This scene was quite embarrassing. Even though Shui Qingyan felt disgusted, she had to take care of Qin Sheng. She took a bottle of water from the car and let Qin Sheng rinse his mouth. After being tormented for more than 10 minutes, Qin Sheng finally recovered. Do you feel better? Shui Qingyan was distressed. She also drank too much and knew how uncomfortable it was. Qin Sheng drank 2 mouthfuls of water and breathed a long sigh of relief. Finally, I feel better. Let's go. The hotel was in Shangri-La next to Xuanwu Lake. Fortunately, it was not far from Xinjiku, so Qin Sheng did not suffer anymore. 2 employees helped Qin Sheng back to his room. Shui Qingyan's room was next to Qin Sheng's. She was not in a hurry to rest. She asked her subordinates to find a way to make some porridge for Qin Sheng to drink before going to sleep. After entering the room, Qin Sheng first washed his face and sobered up a lot. Sitting on the bed, Shui Qingyan stared at the embarrassed Qin Sheng. She did not know whether to laugh or cry. I thought you would never get drunk. Isn't it for you, sister? I'd rather be incapacitated than let you get drunk. Qin Sheng wiped his face and said. Shui Qingyan asked meaningfully, is it worth it? After dinner, she received a message from Qin Sheng. The result made Shui Qingyan a little puzzled. It was somewhat different from what Qin Sheng said. Of course it's worth it. If I perform well, sister will look at me in a different light. Maybe she will help me in the future. In this way, I won't stay in Shangshan Ruoshui as a waitress. This is called an investment, Qin Sheng said very straightforwardly. Shui Qingyan did not expect Qin Sheng to say it so straightforwardly. After all, they knew each other well. It was a little embarrassing, but since Qin Sheng was so frank, Shui Qingyan took the opportunity and said, Qin Sheng, can I ask you something? Sister, just say it. How can I blame you? How can I blame you? Beautiful women are to be pampered. Shui Qingyan glared at him, but she did not blame him. She said slowly, you said last time that you are an orphan, but I checked your identity information and found that you have parents and a sister, but their surname is Lin, and your surname is Qin. Don't blame me. I'm doing this for the sake of safety. I hope you can understand. After Shui Qingyan finished her words, Qin Sheng immediately understood that she must have done that after he had given her his ID number. For people like them, if there were any strangers around them, or if they wanted to trust a person, they would do that. This was a double safeguard. Qin Sheng thought for a moment. I can understand. If I were you, I would do the same. Only by being cautious will there be no accidents. Qin Sheng said with a smile. I am an orphan, but I still need to go to school. So my grandfather entrusted me to the Lin family. Uncle Lin and Annie Wong are my adoptive parents. While I go to school, I live in their house. I see. Shui Qingyan nodded silently. Qin Sheng's explanation had cleared up the doubts in her heart. However, she asked curiously, did your grandfather tell you anything about your family background, such as news about your parents? Qin Sheng sighed and said no. I asked my grandfather, but he never told me. He just said that if I really wanted to know, I should go to Beijing and find an old man named Qin Changsheng. He would tell me everything. Qin Changsheng. Shui Qingyan's expression changed slightly when she heard this name. She seemed to have heard someone mention him before. He seemed to be an otherworldly master. How could he be related to Qin Sheng's grandfather and his background? Could it be that Qin Sheng's background was very complicated? Shui Qingyan became more and more interested. Then you didn't go to the old man? Shui Qingyan asked. She was more and more confused about what he was thinking. Qin Sheng burped and sighed. No, I've been like this all these years. I'm used to it. Everything has a reason. If they wanted to recognize me, they should have found me long ago after so many years. So, maybe I'm an existence that shouldn't exist. Let's continue like this and not disturb each other's lives. Besides, I think it's good to be like this. How free it is. Just comfort yourself, Shui Qingyan said helplessly. Anyway, she did not understand. After chatting for a while, Qin Sheng felt much better. At this time, Shui Qingyan's subordinates came back with the porridge. Shui Qingyan urged Qin Sheng to drink it quickly. After Qin Sheng finished, she asked again, how do you feel now? Qin Sheng chuckled as he said, very comfortable. Shui Qingyan smiled and stood up. Since you're fine, I'll go back to rest. I have a busy day tomorrow. You should go to bed. Okay. After sending Shui Qingyan off, Qin Sheng simply washed up and stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window to enjoy the night view. He liked this kind of huge floor-to-ceiling window the most. It had an unlimited view and made people feel very comfortable. Outside the window was the famous Xuanwu Lake. Grandpa said that he had been to Nanjing a long time ago. He stayed here for nearly half a year and went to countless places to figure out the feng shui pattern of Nanjing. There was a small feng shui in the big feng shui and a small feng shui in the small feng shui. Only after an on-site investigation could one know the situation. Standing in front of the window and smoking a cigarette, Qin Sheng was ready to go to bed. When he turned around, he inadvertently looked up at the air conditioner vent. There was a red that suddenly flashed and disappeared. His face changed slightly. He realized that there might be a problem. So he moved a stool and directly removed the air conditioner vent. He was shocked when he saw it. There was a pinhole camera installed in the air conditioner vent. Qin Sheng took out the thing with a face full of anger. He directly stepped on it and threw it into the trash can. Thinking that there was one in his room, there was no need to mention Xue Qingyan's room. If Miss Chong Sam was already asleep, it would be seen by others. F*CKU. Even I don't have this kind of welfare. F*CKU. Qin Sheng quickly ran to the next door and knocked on the door. Dong, 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 dong. There was a hurried knock on the door. Xue Qingyan did not rest. She turned on the computer that she carried and was sorting out the things that she needed to use tomorrow morning. At that time, she would think of a way to get back the money without angering Du Jiang. Sister, are you asleep? Xue Qingyan was wondering who would knock on the door so late at night. Hearing Qin Sheng's voice, she then understood. However, she wondered why Qin Sheng did not sleep and came to her room at night. Could it be that he wanted to do something while he was drunk? That was a little too bold. What am I thinking? Xue Qingyan did not know whether to laugh or cry. Then she got up and opened the door for Qin Sheng. As soon as the door was opened, Qin Sheng, who reeked of alcohol, rushed in. This scared Xue Qingyan. If Qin Sheng really wanted to do something, with her small arms and legs, she could not resist at all. What's wrong with you? Xue Qingyan frowned. Qin Sheng saw that Miss Chong Sam was still dressed well. Obviously, she did not rest. He was relieved and closed the door. Then he explained, Fortunately, you did not sleep, or you would have been seen by others. What do you mean? Xue Qingyan was even more confused. What was going on? Qin Sheng almost knocked Xue Qingyan. He hurriedly said, Don't you understand what I mean? There's a pinhole camera in this room. We are all being monitored. What? Xue Qingyan was shocked. Qin Sheng did not bother to explain. He directly took a chair and opened the air outlet of the central air conditioner. He removed the pinhole camera from inside and directly threw it on the ground. Xue Qingyan stared at the pinhole camera on the ground. She was stunned and could not speak for a long time. Qin Sheng checked the whole room twice from beginning to end. He took out 2 more bugs from the bedside table and under the table. Xue Qingyan was completely speechless. Who opened this room? Qin Sheng asked with his eyes narrowed. Xue Qingyan was at a loss. From a Nanjing branch. Damn, there's an undercover in your company. It must have been discussed with Du Jiang. These bastards. Qin Sheng scolded. After thinking for a few seconds, Xue Qingyan gritted her teeth and asked, How did you find it? I was lucky. I accidentally saw a red light flashing at the air outlet of the air conditioner. My intuition told me that something was wrong. So I looked at it and found it, Qin Sheng explained. Xue Qingyan was really angry this time, but she restrained her emotions and did not get angry. Instead, she directly said, We can't live in this room anymore. Pack up your things and let's change rooms. Although Qin Sheng had checked it, Xue Qingyan was still worried. Qin Sheng thought about it and agreed with Miss Chong Sam's decision. So they packed up their things and changed 2 rooms. It was almost 1 o'clock in the morning. After living in the new room, Xue Qingyan was finally relieved. She thanked Qin Sheng and then went back to the room to rest. She had decided that when this thing was over, she must clean up the Nanjing branch. It was really lawless. On Du Jiang's side, the subordinate who had been monitoring Xue Qingyan and Qin Sheng reported immediately after the pinhole camera was discovered. The person who was in charge of this matter was Du Jiang's confidant, who had been following Du Jiang for a long time. After Du Jiang had cleared his name, he had handed over all the dirty work to him. The matter was exposed, and he wanted to report to Mr. Du, who knew that Mr. Du had drunk too much, so he could only wait until tomorrow. In the morning, Qinsheng woke up at 6 o'clock. He took a hot bath and then went downstairs straight to Xuanwu Lake. Xuanwu Lake had a history of more than 2,000 years. It used to be a royal garden and was not opened until the end of the Qing dynasty. With a radius of nearly 5 miles, it was divided into 5 continents: Huanzhou, Yingzhou, Lingzhou, Liangzhou, and Suizhou. The continents were connected by bridges, and there were mountains and rivers everywhere. Ouyang Xiu of the Song dynasty once wrote, "Jinling is the most beautiful than Hohu, and Qiantang is the most beautiful than West Lake." After Qin Sheng ran around the entire Xuanwu Lake twice, he came back and took a shower. Only then did he call Xue Qingyan to wake her up for breakfast. He thought that she should have woken up by now. After all, it was almost 8 a.m. after Xue Qingyan picked up the phone. She smiled and said, "I was just about to call you. I didn't expect you to be up already. I got up at 6 o'clock and ran around Xuanwu Lake twice. The weather is really good today." Qin Sheng smiled and said. Xue Qingyan was surprised and said, "Yo, you're up so early. I'm used to it. This is a good habit. Okay, come out. Let's go out for breakfast." Chapter 82. Getting better and better. Late second watch. Good night, everyone. Because Xue Qingyan's company's business was mainly concentrated in the Yangtze River Delta region, there were branches in Nanjing and Hangzhou, and the other 2 branches were in Beijing and Shenzhen. The company in Nanjing was mainly responsible for sales, project follow-up, and finding excellent projects and partners. It had no direct investment management capabilities. The branch was located in Deji Square in Xinjiku. Today, Xue Qingyan was wearing a clean and elegant professional suit. Her hair was directly coiled up, and with the 5-centimeter high heels, she was completely different from her usual style. She was absolutely like a queen. This was the first time that Qin Sheng saw Xue Qingyan with such an aura. When he went out, he was directly stunned. Taking the elevator straight to the floor where the Nanjing company was located, Qin Sheng, the bodyguard, was dressed simply. Xue Qingyan did not tell him any requirements for the clothes. When he just got out of the elevator, he saw Mr. Li, who was drunk by Qin Sheng last night, waiting with the management of the Nanjing branch. "Hello, Mr. Xue." Everyone bowed their heads and shouted in unison. Xue Qingyan was very dissatisfied with the Nanjing branch, so she whispered, "Hello, everyone. Time is pressing. Let's go directly to the conference room for the meeting. I hope you don't let me down." Mr. Li's face was a little ugly. This sentence was obviously for him, or maybe it was because he had a guilty conscience. "Mr. Xue, this way, please." Mr. Li and Xue Qingyan walked in the front, and the others followed behind. Qin Sheng had nothing to do in a short time. Xue Qingyan had already told him that when she had a meeting, Qin Sheng would stroll around Xinjiku. Anyway, it was very prosperous here. Deji Square was a famous luxury square in Nanjing. Qin Sheng could buy whatever he wanted, and she would reimburse him. After the meeting, she would call him. Although Ms. Chong Sam said so, Qin Sheng was not the kind of person who took advantage of small advantages. Besides, he had no pursuit of these worldly things. Just as Ms. Chong Sam was busy, Qin Sheng went out to find a coffee shop and was ready to call Yu Kefi. As Xia Ding said, no matter how busy he was, he had to see him at least once. Otherwise, Yu Kefi would bear grudge. He had a lot of resentment for losing contact with him for more than 2 years. If he didn't say anything when he came to Nanjing, his friendship would really be over. During the rush hour, there were few people in the coffee shop, but there were a lot of queues. Qin Sheng was not in a hurry to order. First, he called Yu Kefi. After a few rings, Yu Kefi answered the phone. Drum Tower Square, Greenland Center, Ziefing Building. Yu Kefi just arrived at the office. After graduation, he entered the family business step by step. Anyway, it was a matter of time. What's more, his father was old and unable to do many things. He should shoulder the burden of the family. He cannot be robbed of the right to speak by those relatives. "Hey, boss, what's wrong with you today? You actually called me. Should I buy a few lottery tickets later?" Yu Kefi, who had just asked the secretary to bring the materials over, saw the name displayed on the mobile phone and was shocked. The last time this caller's name was displayed on the mobile phone, it should be before graduation. Comma, you said. Ching. Ding. King ching. Ching ping ching. Jia ching. You ching ching. Jia ching fei looking ching you. Ching ching ching. 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 Where Nanjing? You ching ching. You ching ching. Qin Sheng smiled and said, yes, I am in Nanjing. Over there, Yu Kefi was silent for a few seconds and then shouted, what the F asterisk CK? Are you kidding me? Otherwise, would I be too lazy to bother with you? Do you need me to send you a location? Qin Sheng said disdainfully. Yu Kefi hurriedly stood up and said, tell me your location. I will come over immediately. You're finally willing to move. Deji Square. Qin Sheng knocked on the table with Morse code, and then said, Xia Ding said that he met you and your fiancée in Sanya last time. Do I have the honor to meet you? Well, I'll fulfill your wish. I'll bring her to see you now. I won't talk nonsense with you. I'm in the green center of Drum Tower Square. I'll be there in 15 minutes, Yu Kefi said as he picked up his coat and walked out. After hanging up the phone, Yu Kefi directly pushed away several meetings in the morning and asked the secretary to change all the itinerary for today. Then he called his fiancée and said that the boss had arrived in Nanjing and wanted to see her. Yu Kefi's fiancée was called Lu Yi. The elders of both families knew each other, so they intended to match each other. They had only met a few times before, and there was no deep communication. So they met each other with the purpose of dealing with each other's parents, who knew that they fell in love with each other. Plus, they were well matched, so they fell in love. Yu Kefi was the kind of person who would be good to others. If others responded, he would be twice as good. Anyway, he would hold his fiancée in his hands. The girl was also a lady, sensible, clever, and capable. She always gave Yu Kefi face. In life, the two had a tacit understanding. This relationship was naturally like glue, so they got engaged some time ago and were ready to get married next year. Lu Yi also worked in the family business, so her time was more free, but even if she was busy today, she had to accompany Yu Kefi now. After all, Qin Sheng had a deep feeling for Yu Kefi. If it was someone else, he would not make this phone call or ask her if she had time. Lu Yi was obedient to Yu Kefi. Without hesitation, she said that she would come over, which made Yu Kefi quite satisfied. After sending the detailed address to Yu Kefi, Qin Sheng took his mobile phone to watch the news. During this period, he chatted with Lin Xin on WeChat, until he saw Yu Kefi come in with a beautiful woman in a gray windbreaker. Qin Sheng slowly got up. Here, Qin Sheng got up and waved. Yu Kefi came over with Lu Yi and gave Qin Sheng a big hug first. Boss, why didn't you inform me in advance that you were coming to Nanjing? I could have picked you up. I came with a friend to do something. I was afraid that you didn't have time, so I didn't bother you. Qin Sheng explained casually. Yu Kefi pretended to be angry. I don't like to hear this. It's hypocritical. No matter how busy I am, as long as you call me, I will rush over immediately. There is absolutely no second words. I believe that. To be honest, I can't help it. But when I come to Nanjing, if I don't tell you, it's not justifiable. Qin Sheng said truthfully. Yu Kefi said seriously. That's more like it. But if you don't tell me, I don't know. If I know, I will never find you when I go to Shanghai. Look at you being so petty. Qin Sheng patted Yu Kefi's shoulder and laughed. After the two greeted each other, Qin Sheng looked at Lu Yi, who had been standing next to him, with a smile. His eyes were clean, and he looked at her. This should be Lu Yi. She's really a beauty. Xia Dingsheng did not deceive me. Lu Yi, who was wearing high heels, was about the same height as Yu Kefi. Her slightly curly shoulder-length hair hung on her chest. The gray windbreaker made her quite temperament. Lu Yi smiled and nodded. Boss, Kefi talked about you the most. Today I finally saw your true face. Are you very disappointed? Qin Sheng said, half-jokingly. Lu Yi smiled and said, No, you can make Kefi worship you so much. Boss is definitely not simple. Yu Kefi put his arm around Lu Yi's shoulder and said, Wife, Boss is the best brother in my life. Yu Kefi, admire him from the bottom of my heart. What I told you is absolutely not a lie. Don't talk so much nonsense. Don't stand there. Sit down quickly. What do you want to drink? I'll help you order. Qin Sheng pulled Yu Kefi. Lu Yi said very wisely, you talk first. I'll order. Qin Sheng was not polite and said latte casually. After Lu Yi left, Qin Sheng stared at Yu Kefi and asked jokingly, you boy, your ancestors are so lucky. Such a beauty has been chased by you. You can enjoy it slowly in the future. Maybe it's fate. I'm not like Xiaoding. I'm really afraid that his body will collapse one day. Yu Kefi laughed. Thinking of Xiaoding, Qin Sheng said helplessly, I can't control him. Let him toss around. One day he will have enough fun. By the way, boss, what are you doing in Nanjing? I heard from Xiaoding that you are now working in a private club. Why do you want to go to that kind of place? Why don't you come to Nanjing? Yu Kefi took the initiative to invite him. He had said before that no matter what he would do in the future, as long as he had food to eat, he would never let Qin Sheng be hungry. Qin Sheng knew what Yu Kefi meant. Xiaoding also said the same thing, but he euphemistically refused. You don't have to worry about the work. I have my own considerations and choices. If I really can't get along, I will definitely come to Nanjing to eat and drink. As for why you come to Nanjing, it's a bit complicated. If there is an accident, I may need your help. It's best if it goes well. Qin Sheng knew that Yu Kefi's family was really not bad in Nanjing. Xiaoding said that among the 4 people in the dormitory, Yu Kefi was the real rich young master. Yu Kefi was not polite and said, okay, as long as you ask, I promise to do it. The two did not talk for a long time. Lu Yi came back. Qin Sheng put the topic on Lu Yi and said, Lu Yi, Kefi is sometimes very capricious. If he makes you angry, don't take it to heart. But if he bullies you, you can't control him. Tell me directly, I will teach him a good lesson for you. Kefi is very good to me, Lu Yi said politely. Yu Kefi said proudly, boss, you can rest assured that I am not good to anyone, but I will never be bad to my wife. As you said, the girl has given the rest of her life to us. If we don't do our best, are we still men? It's good that you know. Qin Sheng nodded silently. Before graduation, everyone was quite confused about the future. More than 2 years had passed, and everyone had their own lives and careers. It was good, and they hoped it would get better and better. Yu Kefi and Lu Yi both pushed away the things in the morning and accompanied Qin Sheng to chat here. Lu Yi was not shy. She knew the relationship between Yu Kefi and Qin Sheng, so she took the initiative to join the topic, just like when she met Xiaoding and Haikao. Yu Kefi and Qin Sheng talked about the things that happened in college. He told Lu Yi a lot of interesting things about Qin Sheng in college. Naturally, he also talked about Su Qin. Qin Sheng also explained to Yu Kefi again, hoping that he would not blame Su Qin anymore, but he did not say that he had seen Su Qin. For this matter, no matter how Qin Sheng explained, Yu Kefi was stubborn. Su Qin took the initiative to break up. The 3 people talked until 10:30. At this time, Xue Qingyan, who had finished the meeting, called Qin Sheng and said that she was going to do Zhang's company and asked him to come back quickly. Qin Sheng was very embarrassed. Yu Kefi and Lu Yi did not care. They originally planned to arrange lunch. Since Qin Sheng had something to do, they would find another time later. Anyway, they were very busy. After the 3 of them separated, Qin Sheng returned to the Nanjing branch. Xue Qingyan was furious inside. A group of leaders in the Nanjing company kept quiet out of fear and did not dare to breathe loudly. This was also the first time that Qin Sheng saw Xue Qingyan angry. It was really terrifying. Not long after, Xue Qingyan came out with a few executives. When she saw Qin Sheng, she did not look good, but said casually, let's go. Chapter 83. No progress. Yesterday I saw a doctor and had a physiotherapy. Today I only have 1 update. Tomorrow I will resume 2 updates. Please forgive me. Xue Qingyan's face was so ugly that she was the kind of queen who could kill people with her eyes. Her aura made Qin Sheng a little afraid. Obviously, the result of the morning meeting was not satisfactory. It could be seen how angry and dissatisfied Xue Qingyan was with the management of Nanjing branch. What was somewhat unexpected was that Du Zhang's company was also in Nanjing's landmark Greenland Center Zifeng building. After all, This was the first building in Jiangsu. Such a landmark building naturally attracted many large companies and multinational companies to settle in. A company like Dujiang, who needed to package its strength, would choose such an office location, which was easier to convince investors and partners. Qin Sheng drove a Mercedes-Benz S600 alone, which was the reception car of Nanjing Company. Xue Qingyan sat in the back with a lot of documents in her hand, frowning. Qin Sheng quietly looked at Xue Qingyan from the rearview mirror. The serious look of Ms. Chongsam was also unique. You just strolled in Zinjiku. Why didn't I see you buy anything? Are you reluctant to spend my money, or are you embarrassed? Xue Qingyan seemed to feel Qin Sheng's eyes and asked without raising her head. Qin Sheng curled his lips and said, "There is nothing to buy, and I have never bought those luxury goods. To be honest, I am reluctant to spend so much money on those useless things." Well, frugality is a good habit, but sometimes you have to spend what you should spend. Don't tell me you have the ambition to be good to the world when you are poor. Xue Qingyan sorted out some key data in her mind and did not forget to tease Qin Sheng. There was a red light in front. Qin Sheng stopped the car, turned his head, and asked with a coquettish look, "Sister, can you give me money?" "Go away." Xue Qingyan raised her head and scolded him with a smile. Being teased by Qin Sheng, her mood was much better. This time in Nanjing was a lesson. She would definitely suggest to the board of directors to investigate all the branches. There must not be such a deceptive thing in Nanjing again. Qin Sheng turned his head with a smile and was not angry. "What did you do for more than an hour? Did you stay in Zinjiku to look at beauties?" Xue Qingyan asked curiously. Qin Sheng shook his head and said, "I don't have that kind of hobby. There are so many beautiful women in Shangshan Roashui that I have long been tired of looking at them. Besides, there's such a beautiful woman next to me. I'm here in Nanjing. My university roommate is from Nanjing. I'm afraid that our schedule is too tight and I don't have time to see him. Otherwise, if he knows that I came to Nanjing and didn't contact him, he will definitely fall out with me." So I gave him a call, and he came over with his fiancée. We chatted in the cafe downstairs. "It turns out that you have friends in Nanjing. If things go well, I'll give you a day off. You guys can get together then," Xue Qingyan said very understandingly. She ignored Qin Sheng's praise for her. She had heard too many of these clichés. Qin Sheng nodded happily. Ms. Chongsam was quite considerate. After coming to Zifeng building, there were a total of 8 people in Xue Qingyan's group. Qin Sheng was the weirdest. He wore sneakers, jeans, plus a coat and a short-sleeved shirt. Others were all in business suits. Financial practitioners often paid attention to the external image. Which one of them did not wear a set of famous brands? If he told Du Jiang again today that Qin Sheng was Xue Qingyan's assistant, Du Jiang would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. If he recalled that he was tricked by Qin Sheng, the driver who had more tricks than him at the table last night, Du Jiang would be so angry that he would vomit blood. Du Jiang was active today. He had been waiting in the conference room early because this was a key battle for him. If Xue Qingyan's company withdrew its investment, other partners were likely to make the same request. At that time, there would be a stampede, which would directly lead to the collapse of the capital chain. There was only a dead end. Therefore, Du Jiang led the company's 8 executives, big and small, to wait at the elevator. Their company rented 2 floors of Zifeng building. It could be seen that Du Jiang was like a fish in water in the past few years. "I thought Miss Xue could come earlier," Du Jiang joked when he saw Xue Qingyan. He really thought that Xue Qingyan would come early in the morning. He did not expect to wait until 11 o'clock. It was almost time for dinner. What progress could there be? Xue Qingyan said politely and perfunctorily, "I'm sorry to let Mr. Du wait for a long time." "It's okay. Did Miss Xue sleep well last night?" Du Jiang did not know whether it was intentional or unintentional, he said with a smile. This sentence made Xue Qingyan's face change slightly. She was a little scared when she thought about what happened last night. A 5-star hotel was actually installed with a pinhole camera, and it was even done by a traitor. She was more disgusted than eating a fly, but she still endured and said, "Thank you for your concern. Mr. Du, I had a good rest." "Mr. Du, it's getting late. Let's start early. I hope we can finish this project smoothly." Xue Qingyan did not want to continue to talk about that trivial matter, so she took back her smile. Xue Qingyan's words wanted to set the tone for today's matter, but Du Jiang did not buy it. He smiled and said, "Let's have a meeting first." When they entered, Manager Du looked at Qin Sheng, who was standing at the back. Logically speaking, as Xue Qingyan's assistant, Qin Sheng should be standing at the side. Why was he standing at the back? What was more strange was that what was wrong with his attire? Did he not know the rules? The conference room of Du Jiang's company was very grand. The Zifeng building had 87 floors and 458 meters. Du Jiang's company was on the 36th floor. Standing in this conference room, you could overlook the entire Nanjing city. The executives of both sides sat opposite each other, with laptops and materials in front of them. Qin Sheng was not taken off by Xue Qingyan this time, but sat at the end to listen. "Let's get started." Xue Qingyan cleared her throat. Although it was a little dry, she did not drink the water prepared by Du Jian's company. Du Jiang stared at Xue Qingyan very wretchedly and said, "Let's get started." Xue Qingyan started directly. This scene lasted for 2 hours. They even went straight to lunch. They continued singing like this. Both sides were at each other's throats. Xue Qingyan insisted that the funds were misappropriated and the project had been suspended. The risk coefficient and unstable factors had increased. According to the original contract terms, their company could propose to withdraw. Du Jiang's company insisted that there was no misappropriation. The investment project had entered the end. Your company's withdrawal request was unreasonable, and they completely disagreed. The two sides launched a fierce battle on various data, and so on. Originally, Xue Qingyan could have the upper hand. Who knew that there was a stupid teammate who betrayed Xue Qingyan halfway? That was Mr. Li, who drank with her last night. He had been helping Du Jiang to speak, which made Xue Qingyan so angry that she wanted to scold him. At first, Qin Sheng was still listening with interest, staring at Ms. Chongsam from time to time. Her aura in the business world was really strong. She was meticulous, and her words were watertight. If Mr. Li did not drag them down, Du Jiang could not deal with it at all. In the end, Qin Sheng was not interested in listening. They had been arguing on several key issues. At this time, he was already sleepy. When it was almost 1:30, it was finally over. As a result, it was obvious that they did not reach an agreement. Du Jiang did not even mean to get up and send Xue Qingyan. Originally, he was polite, but he did not expect that Xue Qingyan was determined. He was naturally not polite anymore. To be honest, if it was in the past, Du Jiang would definitely not dare to offend Xue Qingyan's company. He knew very well how big the background of Xue Qingyan's company was. There were a lot of red capital involved. As long as they said to withdraw, Du Jiang would definitely agree without hesitation. Anyway, he used the prestige and connections of Xue Qingyan's company, which was now worthless. But now was a critical moment. He must fight for enough time for himself. He could only bite the bullet and offend them. Anyway, he didn't care about these things in the future. Therefore, he took down Mr. Li by coercion and temptation, grabbed his weakness, threatened his life with the underworld background, and promised a lot of money. Mr. Li could not do anything if he did not agree. That was why Xue Qingyan was cheated by a stupid teammate today. As soon as they arrived at the underground parking lot of Zifeng building, Xue Qingyan directly said to Mr. Li, "Li Dajuan, from now on, you are suspended. You don't have to participate in the next negotiation." "Mr. Xue, it seems that you don't have this right. You can suspend me or fire me, but you have to have the order of the board of directors." Mr. Li had done what he should do today. His task was completed successfully. Anyway, he had offended Xue Qingyan, and it was impossible to stay in this company in the future. Now he had no taboo. Xue Qingyan stared at Li Dajuan and said, "Okay, I will call the chairman." Li Dajuan shrugged and said that he didn't care. He left without looking back, leaving Xue Qingyan and a group of people looking at each other, not knowing what to do. After Xue Qingyan got in the car, Qin Sheng took the initiative to say, "Sister, calm down." Li Dajuan and Du Jiang probably colluded. He lost the company's interests to help the other company. He was either threatened or bribed. "This Li Dajuan, Xue Qingyan gnashed her teeth and said, Qin Sheng said slowly. Now we have lost for a while. The next negotiation is hard to say. I think we have to find another way. Otherwise, there will be no progress. Do you have any ideas? Shui Qingyan looked up at Qin Sheng and asked casually. She did not expect Qin Sheng to come up with any good ideas. When they were negotiating, Qin Sheng thought about how to turn back the situation. But he asked first, Sister, what is the bottom line of your company? The loss can't exceed 10%. Once it exceeds this number, it means that the negotiation has failed. At that time, we may take abnormal means. Shui Qingyan naturally did not doubt Qin Sheng, so she told the truth. Qin Sheng asked again, what is abnormal means? Take the government route. Shui Qingyan did not hide it, but this was the last way. No one was willing to owe a favor. This kind of favor was more troublesome to return, and it could not be weighed with money. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, in this case, I think there is no need to continue the negotiation. It is meaningless to go back and forth like this. You could directly ask Du Jiang to talk to him face to face, when it is necessary to threaten him. After all, he is in a bad situation now, and you have enough chips. Chapter 84. A corner dog will do something. First, if this road doesn't work, we can change to another road, and we can do both at the same time. She began to sort out the ins and outs of the whole thing again. The company has the company's interests, and Du Jiang also has Du Jiang's scruples. The company's interest is to withdraw investment. She can't let this investment become a bad debt. After all, Du Jiang is now in a precarious situation. If there is a risk of collapse, it will inevitably suffer. Du Jiang's scruples are that he must not let Shui Qingyan's company become a fuse and ignite the explosives that he has accumulated for many years. At that time, he will be in an irrecoverable situation. He can only buy enough time for himself and let everything calm down before he runs away. As long as Shui Qingyan understands the situation of both sides, she will retreat and attack from the flank instead of playing positional warfare. In this way, the probability of success is very high. Let's go back to Deji Square first. I will sort it out in the afternoon and then decide what to do. After thinking for a while, Shui Qingyan already had a preliminary plan. After returning to Deji Square, Shui Qingyan was already hungry, and Qin Sheng was almost the same, so Shui Qingyan took Qin Sheng to the Nanjing food stall on the 7th floor of Deji Square to have lunch. This restaurant is quite famous in Nanjing. Now, it has become a chain model. There are branches in Beijing, Shanghai, and other places. As for the taste, although it can't be compared with those particularly authentic time-honored restaurants, it is still medium level. Unfortunately, Qin Sheng prefers to eat spicy Sichuan cuisine instead of Shanghai cuisine, Jiangsu and Zhejiang cuisine, or Huaiyang cuisine. After a casual lunch, Qin Sheng accompanied Shui Qingyan back to the company. Shui Qingyan began to be busy. She called the chairman to confirm the dismissal of Li Dajuan. At the same time, she carried out an internal investigation to see if he had any duty-related crimes. He dared to gamble with the company's interests, which was not allowed by any boss. Li Dajuan's office has been requisitioned by Shui Qingyan. Shui Qingyan had a meeting and a phone call. Li Dajuan stayed in the office and continued to read. There were a lot of books in Li Dajuan's office, but it seemed that he had not read them. This reminded people of the previous conversation between two big shots. One said that entrepreneurs must always read to enrich themselves, and the other said that the company's money is not for you to read. She was busy until about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Yu Kefi called and said that he and his fiancée would welcome Qin Sheng in the evening. Shui Qingyan had not finished her work yet, so she was a little embarrassed. Boss, let's do it this way. When your friend is done with his work, you can come over together. I can't come to Nanjing without inviting you for a meal. If you have social engagements in the evening, forget it. I just want to have a good chat with you. Last time we got together in a hurry in Shanghai, we only cared about drinking. We didn't say a lot of words. We were also in a hurry in the morning, Yu Kefi said very sincerely. He really regarded Qin Sheng as a big brother. Qin Sheng knew that this was Yu Kefi's kind intention. Finally, he replied, Don't worry. When my friend finishes her work, I will ask her what she thinks. I will call you then. At 7 o'clock, Shui Qingyan finally finished her meeting. After she walked into the office, she let out a long sigh and stared at Qin Sheng, who was drinking tea and reading a book. She laughed and said, "You're enjoying yourself. Sister, you don't want me to help. I have studied finance before. I can still help with some data." Qin Sheng looked up and smiled. Shui Qingyan did not expect that Qin Sheng also studied finance. But what was taught in the university could not be compared with the reality. Financial instruments, policies, derivatives, and so on were changing every day. Even they often had accidents. What could Qin Sheng help? So Shui Qingyan shook her head and said, "Forget it. You take care of yourself." Qin Sheng saw that the staff outside had almost left. At this time, his stomach began to growl again. He could only say that he did not have enough for lunch. He asked weakly, "Sister, when can we finish? I can leave after I finish this email." Shui Qingyan was sending an email to the big boss and said casually. Qin Sheng continued to ask, "Do we have any other activities in the evening?" "What do you mean? If you have something to say, just say it. Don't hide it. What are you planning?" Shui Qingyan snorted. Qin Sheng plucked up his courage and said, "It's nothing. It's just that my college roommate wants to invite me to dinner in the evening. I want to be a good host. It's the second time we meet since graduation." "Oh, I will go back to the hotel to work overtime in the evening. You do your work." After Shui Qingyan understood, she decided. Qin Sheng said righteously, "This can't be done. I came to Nanjing to protect you. Today you and Du Jiang are in a deadlock. That bastard may do something desperate. I have to be careful." "What do you mean?" Shui Qingyan was somewhat puzzled. Qin Sheng hurriedly said, "I mean, you accompany me. I can also protect you. Let's just have dinner. After dinner, we will go back to the hotel immediately. I will not delay your work." "Is it appropriate for me to go?" Shui Qingyan was a little embarrassed. If it was in the past, she would definitely not be willing to go. But what happened last night still made her a little scared. Who knew what would happen today? Qin Sheng chuckled and said, "Why not? You are my sister, which means you're also his sister. Besides, he has a girlfriend with him. If I am alone, I will be the third wheel." There were some ambiguities in his words, but Shui Qingyan did not care and finally agreed. When Qin Sheng heard that, he immediately smiled and hurriedly ran out to call Yukefi. He told him to see him later and asked him to come to the address immediately. Coincidentally, the place to eat was next to Xuanwu Lake, which was quite convenient. Qin Sheng used his mobile phone to watch the news. Shui Qingyan stretched out and came out. Her chest was infinitely beautiful. However, no one came. She said lazily, "Let's go." There were still a few people working overtime in the company. After Shui Qingyan said hello, she left with Qin Sheng. After entering the elevator, she said, "I have to bring some gifts for others. I will go downstairs to buy a gift for his girlfriend on the first floor of Daiji. Then we go back to the hotel. I will change my clothes. It is not suitable to wear these clothes." After all, Miss Chong Sam was a lady. She knew the ways of the world and etiquette better than Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng naturally did not dare to accept it. He quickly said, "Sister, there is no need for gifts. We are all acquaintances. You are you, and I am me. They are two different things." Shui Qingyan insisted, otherwise she would not go. Qin Sheng had no choice but to agree. So, they went downstairs to the first floor of Daiji Square for a while. Qin Sheng did not understand these things. Everything was decided by Ms. Chong Sam. In the end, Shui Qingyan bought a Bulgari necklace, which was more than 10,000 points. She did not think much about it. She thought that Qin Sheng's college roommate's family should be ordinary or medium. Such a gift was already good. The Mercedes-Benz was parked in the underground parking lot. This underground parking lot was on the side of the office building. At this time, there was almost no one. It was quite gloomy inside. Shui Qingyan and Qin Sheng were talking and laughing. After a few steps, Qin Sheng suddenly stopped. He vaguely felt that someone was staring at them. "What's wrong?" Shui Qingyan wondered. Qin Sheng saw a car not far away. It seemed that there were a few people sitting in it. Qin Sheng smiled and said, "Nothing." After walking to the parking place, Qin Sheng first turned around and got on the car to check it. He made sure that the car was not tampered with. Then he motioned Shui Qingyan to get on the car and then drove out of Daiji Square. After coming out of the underground parking lot, Qin Sheng waited for a while on the side of the road. Sure enough, the car also followed. He then went to the Shangri-La Hotel. At several traffic lights, he also looked back and confirmed that they were being followed. If he did not guess wrong, their car had been installed with a positioning system. After returning to the hotel, Qin Sheng accompanied Shui Qingyan to go up. He first checked the room and made sure that there was no situation last night. Then he came out and let Shui Qingyan change her clothes. He had been guarding the door. After Shui Qingyan changed her clothes, they came out of the hotel side by side. This time, Qin Sheng did not drive, but said to Shui Qingyan, "Sister, let's take a taxi. I am afraid of drinking later." Okay. Shui Qingyan did not think much at all and nodded silently. Yu Kefi's address was opposite Xuanwu Lake, across the lake from the Shangri-La Hotel. The distance was not far, so it did not take long to arrive. They got off the car on the side of the road. There was a path leading to the innermost 3-story old building, but the intersection was blocked. A security guard stopped at the door and asked, "Do you have a reservation?" "Yes, Mr. Yu Kefi," Qin Sheng said slowly. The security guard let them in and then informed inside. When they walked to the door of the small building, there was already a manager waiting. He smiled and said, "This way, please. Mr. Yu is already waiting inside." The parking spaces outside were parked with a group of luxury cars. It seemed that this place was obviously not simple. It should not be open to the public. It was a private clubhouse, which made Shui Qingyan very curious. The manager took them all the way to the 3rd floor, which was all Chinese style. Finally, they stopped in a box facing Xuanwu Lake. After knocking on the door gently and getting permission from inside, they pushed the door. Yu Kefi and Lu Yi had slowly got up to greet them. Yu Kefi smiled and said, "Boss, you are here. I thought I had to wait a little longer." Lu Yi also smiled and said, "Boss." Qin Sheng hurriedly introduced, "Sister, this is what I told you. My college roommate, Yu Kefi, and this is his fiancée, Lu Yi. When you first met a person, you would naturally look at them from their temperament and clothes. Shui Qingyan had seen a lot of playboys or young talents. Naturally, she had a preliminary understanding of Yu Kefi and Lu Yi. Not to mention their temperament, they could judge at least what level of wealth they had based on their clothes and accessories. This result made her very surprised. She did not expect that Qin Sheng's college roommates were not ordinary people. After greeting each other politely, the host and guests were seated. In front of the window, there was a round table of medium size. Outside the window was Xuanwu Lake in the night. The environment was really good. Yu Kefi asked the waiter to order and sober up. Qin Sheng began to find a topic to lighten the atmosphere. Chapter 85. A Desperate Situation, Part 2. In today's sluggish economy, most of the seemingly glamorous characters in this society actually had no idea how much suffering they were suffering. In the words of certain someone, assets of hundreds of millions or even more than $1 billion, but they only had a few tens of thousands of working capital. Although this was an exaggeration, it was roughly the same. Driving luxury cars, living in mansions, and spending tens of thousands of dollars in nightclubs were just for the sake of face. At any time, they could collapse and run away, leaving a mess. Especially these companies related to finance, such as P2P lending, illegal fundraising, usury companies. Hegel said that their existence was reasonable, which also showed the downturn of the real economy. Secondly, the pursuit of profit by capital, in the end, could not escape the result. Du Jiang was like this, but he was also different. In the beginning, Du Jiang did a good job, but as the business got bigger and bigger, there were more and more management loopholes. In addition, there were changes in policies, and some projects involved fallen officials. This was also the most important thing. For thousands of years, the most important culture in China was the political and business culture. He was responsible for success and failure. In today's unprecedented anti-corruption efforts, many entrepreneurs were in prison because of this, and Han Guoping was also the same. Du Jiang was aware of the coming risk, so he made preparations in advance. He did not intend to wait for the complete collapse of the whole line and finally spend the rest of his life in prison, but he hid it very well, and no one found trouble. However, Shui Qingyin's company had eyes everywhere, so he asked to withdraw in advance. Shui Qingyin, this bitch, actually let the board of directors remove my position, and now they are still investigating me. Mr. Du, you have to find a way for me. Li Dajuan was in a dilemma, but he had already stood on Du Jiang's side, so he could only bite the bullet and go on. Du Jiang held the wine glass and smiled. Old Li, don't worry. Shui Qingyin is just a woman. We don't need to be afraid of her. Her task has been successfully completed. I will give you what I promised you. I will give you 5 million first. You take your wife and children out for a few days. I will give you the remaining 5 million next week. As for Shui Qingyin, leave it all to me. Thank you, Mr. Du, but Shui Qingyin is not easy to deal with. It is said that she has a strong background. We have to be careful. Li Dajuan kindly reminded him. A woman in her 30s could become the managing director of a company. No one would believe that she did not have a strong background. After all, their company was not weak. Du Jiang didn't care at all. He smiled and said, don't worry. This is Nanjing, not Shanghai. I won't be afraid of her. Oldie, you go back first. I will inform you if there is any news. Li Dajuan, who had lost his dignity, was now in fear and trepidation. He smiled apologetically and left. After Li Dajuan left, there were two confidants of Du Jiang. One was Meng Dong, the vice president, who accompanied Shui Qingyin yesterday. He was basically responsible for the operation of the whole company. The other one was Song Chu, the confidant who took over his gray business. These two were the left and right arms of Li Dajuan. One was in the light and the other was in the dark. Du Jiang was in charge of the overall situation. Shui Qingyin is determined to withdraw investment this time. Boss, this is not easy to deal with. If we can't solve this trouble, other cooperative companies will also come to us. Meng Dong pushed his glasses and frowned. Du Jiang frowned and said, now our money is being transferred. There is no fund of 200 million in the company's account. There is only 10 million working capital. What can we give her? If there is money, I have already given it to her. It is better to have less trouble. Now I have no choice but to bear it. If you can't do it, use some hard tricks. As long as we can drag this week. Song Chu gritted his teeth and said, anyway, even if there was a problem at that time, they would have already escaped. Du Jiang looked at Meng Dong and said, have you got the money out? How about the other preparations? Now we have only got 1/3 of it. You know that in the past 2 years, this aspect has been suppressed too much. Many ways have been blocked. We will lose 1/3 of the money this time. As for other things, they have been arranged properly. First at Hong Kong, and then transferred to Singapore. Meng Dong said slowly. Du Jiang nodded silently and said, let's drag Shui Qingyin first. If she can't hold it, we will use hard tricks. At that time, she can't blame me. Song Chu, keep an eye on her. Once I say it, immediately take action. Boss, don't worry. I will tell you now. Song Chu vowed. In the box of Yun, next to Xuanwu Lake, at this moment, people were already toasting each other. To say the level of this table, Shui Qingyin, Yu Kefi, and Lu Yi were definitely at the same level. So there were many common topics. Lu Yi and Shui Qingyin were both beauties. Naturally, they could talk a lot about many female topics. Most of the time, Qin Sheng did not speak, just listened with a smile, and then accompanied them to drink and laugh. From the short chat, Shui Qingyin already knew that the family background of Yu Kefi and Lu Yi was not simple. When she mentioned some characters in Sunan, the couple could say the details and the friendship with their family. This made Shui Qingyin very surprised, and she had a more comprehensive understanding of Qin Sheng. It could be seen that the relationship between Yu Kefi and Qin Sheng was very good. As Lu Yi said, Yu Kefi admired Qin Sheng very much. Shui Qingyin was very curious that since Qin Sheng had this relationship with Yu Kefi, why didn't Qin Sheng come to Nanjing exhibition? He had to be an ordinary waiter in Shangshan, Ruoshui. It seemed that this matter was very strange. She had to look into it later. When they drank to their heart's content, Yu Kefi finally couldn't bear it again and said, Boss, I didn't dare to ask more last time. I really want to know how you have been in the more than 2 years you have been missing. I feel that you have changed a lot. Is it very hard in the past 2 years? Qin Sheng really didn't want to mention the things in those 2 years. He had been to many places and was involved in many things. This was why when he just returned to Xi'an, there were still people chasing him. It was just that it was quieter when he returned to Shanghai, but he believed that those things would not end so easily. It's not hard or not. It's just a person's cultivation, living a free and easy life. Qin Sheng casually said again. Yu Kefi shook his head hard and said, "You still don't want to tell me. Maybe you have your own difficulties." "What difficulties do I have? You all think too much. In the past 2 years, I basically just traveled the great rivers and mountains of the motherland. If you have the chance, go out and see more. Don't always work hard," Qin Sheng said with a smile. "Qin Sheng, then you tell me, where's the more interesting place? I have time to go out for a walk." Xue Qingyan changed the topic and also wanted to see where Qin Sheng went. Qin Sheng thought for a moment and guessed. The mountains at the junction of Sichuan and Shaanxi stretch endlessly. There are many beautiful places, such as Hanzhong and Guanyuan. It is difficult to go to Shudao. It is more difficult than going to heaven. You will know how difficult it is after you go there. The 3 mountains of Qinghai, the ancestor of mountains Kunlun, Tangula, and Chilean mountains, all have different scenery. By the way, you can go to Qinghai Lake. How beautiful it is. In Sichuan, the south and north of Sichuan are different. There are delicious food everywhere. You can eat wherever you go. The most beautiful is the Bamboo Sea in South Chuan. Then go to Dege Chengdu in the west and feel the mystery of Tibetan Buddhism. Go to Chongqing, Guizhou. Speaking of these places, Qin Sheng began to stop. He told the people about the places he had been in high spirits. Whether it was Lu Yi or Xue Qingyan, they were all envious. People in big cities were used to staying in the city. Naturally, they yearned for this kind of free life. After talking for nearly half an hour, Lu Yi finally understood why Yu Kefi admired Qin Sheng so much. He was obviously not simple. Xue Qingyan's understanding of Qin Sheng was constantly refreshed. He seemed to be a treasure. The more you dig, the more surprises you will get. After talking so much and drinking a lot, Qin Sheng got up and went to the bathroom. Yu Kefi also followed. The 2 friends huddled in the bathroom to pee. Outside, Lu Yi and Xue Qingyan talked about fashion and taste. "Boss, tell me honestly, what is your relationship with this beauty?" Yu Kefi asked maliciously. Qin Sheng laughed and scolded. "Why do you think so much? Didn't you hear me call her sister? God sister, entangled for a lifetime. Haven't you heard this sentence?" Yu Kefi lowered his voice and laughed. Qin Sheng sighed and said, "Get lost. She is a top member of our club. I am ordered to protect her. Don't think too much. You are crazy." Yu Kefi then understood. At 10 o'clock in the evening, the dinner was finally over. Yu Kefi asked the person in charge of a yuan to send a car to send Qin Sheng and Xue Qingyan back to Shangri-La Hotel. Qin Sheng knew that this was opened by Yu Kefi's family. It was a stronghold for them to receive friends and customers. At the door, Xue Qingyan thanked Yu Kefi and Lu Yi for their hospitality. She said that when they went to Shanghai next time, she would entertain them well. After returning to the hotel, Qin Sheng and Xue Qingyan greeted each other and then took a bath and went to bed. Xue Qingyan worked overtime for a while. The next day, Xue Qingyan took a group of executives of the company to Zifeng Building again. Qin Sheng still followed. Du Jiang did not welcome them at the elevator this time. He just sat in a conference room and waited. At the beginning, Xue Qingyan continued to be embarrassed, but Du Jiang used what Li Dajuan said yesterday as an excuse, which made Xue Qingyan very helpless. In the morning, there was still no progress in the 2-hour negotiation. Qin Sheng was drowsy sitting next to her. When the negotiation was over, Xue Qingyan completely gave up this road. She knew that Du Jiang would not buy it, so she could only try according to Qin Sheng's method, but she was not in a hurry. "Mr. Du, I don't think we need to go to the legal way. It is not good for you when everyone knows it," Xue Qingyan said coldly. Du Jiang squinted and said, "Mr. Xue, you are threatening me, but you forget this seems to be Nanjing, not Shanghai." "So what if it's Nanjing? So what if it's Shanghai?" "I hope Mr. Du will consider it carefully," Xue Qingyan said. Du Jiang gritted his teeth and said, "Mr. Xue, you are forcing me. I'm just following the rules. Mr. Du, I hope to get your reply as soon as possible. Goodbye. Chapter 86. Car Accident. Second update. Asking for monthly tickets, tips, collections. Du Jiang was born with original sin. With a dark background, he was always threatened by others. Today, he was threatened by a woman. Du Jiang naturally couldn't bear it. Besides, he was very upset recently. He was quite resentful because of Xue Qinyan. At this moment, he didn't care anymore. Song Chu smiled after receiving the phone call. Boss, it's ready. I'll teach her a lesson first and let her know that Nanjing is not a good place. She should be smart and leave early. After hanging up the phone, he immediately arranged. According to what I told you last night, let Tuan Tuan practice first. Remember to act realistically. Brother Song, don't worry. It's all done. I'll do it, Song Chu's man said. In the underground parking lot, everyone had already got in 3 cars. The Mercedes-Benz S600 was in the middle. There was still no progress today. Du Jiang's ability to wrangle was really good. Xue Qinyan was so angry that she sighed. Qin Sheng, it seems that we can only try your way. Sister, I think what Du Jiang is most afraid of is that this thing will be exposed. At the same time, he is also worried that if he agrees with your company's request, other companies will follow. The final possibility is that he really has no money, Qin Sheng said slowly as he started the Mercedes-Benz. Xue Qinyan had already analyzed the possibility and nodded. You're right, but it's impossible that he has no money. Their company used to be powerful and has government credit endorsement. The investment amount of these projects adds up to billions. It's impossible that he has no money at all. Since he doesn't admit that there is a problem with the project and he is unwilling to withdraw his investment, it means that he doesn't want to put these things on the table. So you can contact him privately. Maybe there will be a turning point, Qin Sheng said slowly. Xue Qinyan said thoughtfully, when I go back to the company, I will ask him. I'm afraid that he will refuse. He won't refuse, Qin Sheng said confidently. The 3 cars slowly went to the exit. At this time, Song Chu's man who had been watching in the underground parking lot informed his companion. They have gone out. The target is the Mercedes-Benz S600 in the middle. I will follow behind. After entering the exit passage, you come in. Pay attention to the speed. Brother, I got it. A woman's voice sounded. The 3 cars slowly drove away from the Purple Peak building. In the passage of the underground garage entrance and exit, the speed was not fast, and they kept a certain distance in front and behind. After turning a corner, the first car had already accelerated the climb. At this time, a Toyota Prado came down from the opposite side. The speed was somewhat abnormal. In the past, the cars that went in must be reduced for fear that there would be cars coming from the opposite side. Not to mention there was a curve here, but this car suddenly accelerated. Qin Sheng was a little confused about what the driver wanted to do. Before he came to his senses, the Toyota Prado had gone straight to them. Qin Sheng was shocked and shouted, Sister, it's dangerous. Hurry up and hold on. Xue Qinyan, who was thinking about something, was startled by Qin Sheng's roar. When she looked up at Qin Sheng, she happened to see the Toyota Prado coming toward them. Xue Qinyan's face changed instantly, and she subconsciously grasped the handle tightly. After Qin Sheng found that there was something wrong with the Toyota Prado, his brain thought of countless ways in an instant, but it was absolutely how to ensure the safety of Xue Qinyan. Xue Qinyan sat in the back, so Qin Sheng finally chose to fall back. Even if he hit the car behind, there was no way. In a flash, Mercedes-Benz and the Audi A6L behind had a close contact. The driver was frightened and panicked, but then there was another bang, and the Toyota Prado directly hit the left front of Mercedes-Benz. The airbag popped out, and Qin Sheng was almost knocked out. The Mercedes-Benz and Audi A6L, which had been running together, were hit directly and slid back 2 meters, directly against the wall of the curve. Everyone was frightened by this sudden change. The Passat, which had already reached the entrance and exit, heard a few consecutive bangs behind them. Several people hurriedly got out of the car. The scene in front of them made them panic and subconsciously rushed over. The Audi A6L was not a big deal because there was a Mercedes-Benz in front, and the impact force was all borne by the Mercedes-Benz. But thanks to the Audi A6L behind, the Mercedes-Benz was not directly hit against the wall behind, and the scene was estimated to be more miserable. For people, the Audi A6L ran down, and the two women had been scared to cry. The driver and the male executive hurriedly ran to the Mercedes-Benz, pulled the door hard, and shouted, "Miss Shui, Miss Shui." Shui Qingyan was not hurt. Fortunately, Qin Sheng found the danger in advance, so she was safe. The airbag in front had popped out, and Qin Sheng was hit and almost came out. Shui Qingyan was afraid that Qin Sheng had an accident and shouted, "Qin Sheng, how are you?" Qin Sheng resisted the pain and said, "Sister, I'm fine. Are you okay?" I'm fine. Shui Qingyan said with a heavy face. Qin Sheng opened the car lock, and Shui Qingyan got off first. Qin Sheng tried to open the door. Fortunately, he hit the left front without losing the side, otherwise he would have an accident. After they got off, the executives of the Nanjing company surrounded Shui Qingyan and asked and comforted her. Qin Sheng stretched his muscles and bones and then walked to the Toyota Prado. To his surprise, it was a woman. The woman seemed to be scared. At this time, she had opened the door and got off. There were some bruises on her face. After getting off, she sat on the ground directly, and her face was still in shock. Several executives rushed up and shouted, "How the hell do you drive? The brake is not working," the woman said tremblingly. After hearing this sentence, Qin Sheng knew that there must be something wrong. Why did the brake fail at this time? After it failed, why did it not forget to hit the right side but hit them? Why did it hit the Mercedes-Benz? Everything was too coincidental. There must be something wrong when things were abnormal. So it was often not a coincidence, but a deliberate plan. At this time, Shui Qingyan, who came back to her senses, called the insurance company, leave two people to deal with it. The others go to the hospital to have a check. It's best that everyone is fine. Shui Qingyan was also wondering if this was done by Du Jiang. If it was really Du Jiang, then he was too bold. Did he really look down on himself? Qin Sheng and Shui Qingyan sat in the front Passat again. This time, it was not Qin Sheng who drove. The company had contacted a private hospital. Although Qin Sheng said that he was fine, how could Shui Qingyan rest assured when she saw his bruised face? After checking in the hospital again and again, it took more than an hour to determine that there was nothing serious. It was just a minor injury. Shui Qingyan also breathed a sigh of relief. Sitting in the corridor of the hospital, Shui Qingyan looked at Qin Sheng and asked, "Qin Sheng, what do you think of today's matter?" "Sister, is it a little too coincidental?" Qin Sheng sneered. There were a few scars on his face, but they were all harmless. Shui Qingyan understood Qin Sheng's meaning and replied, "Do you also think that Du Jiang did it?" Qin Sheng squinted and said slowly, "If he didn't do it, who else would have the motive and courage to do it? Obviously, he is warning us to be careful. Otherwise, today's situation would not be so simple." Qin Sheng squinted and said slowly. Shui Qingyan was most afraid that Du Jiang would not follow the routine, so she asked, "Then tell me, what should we do? We still have to see him. At least we have to talk about the company's affairs first. Other things can only be discussed later," Qin Sheng suggested. They could not beat the grass and scare the snake. If they really annoyed him, it was estimated that things could not be discussed. Shui Qingyan gnashed her teeth and said, "Today's matter, I will remember it first. He really did not put me in his eyes. Then I will let him pay for today's matter. Business is more important. You call him to meet tonight, then I will accompany you. I think what to say, sister, you know better than me." Not to mention that Shui Qingyan remembered it. Qin Sheng would not let him off easily. If they could reach an agreement tonight, it would be the best. If not, Qin Sheng could only use extreme means. "Aren't you a gangster? Then let's see who is more gangster." Zhongshan Golf Villa. This was a famous mansion in Nanjing. It was a symbol of status to have a villa here. In the past, Du Jiang did not have complete financial freedom. In the past few years, his business was getting bigger and bigger, and he was finally willing to buy a villa here. Du Jiang had a wife and children. His wife divorced a few years ago, Now she accompanied her son to study in Australia. This time, he transferred all the funds to the name of his wife and son. In addition, he also had 2 lovers. His most beloved lover now lived in Zhongshan Golf Villa. She was the hostess of the house, but Du Jiang did not take her seriously. He had arranged to give her a sum of money after he left, which was also a compensation for her. On the court outside, Du Jiang invited a city leader to play, which was also to buy enough time for himself and let these local officials suppress the matter. After the leader left, Du Jiang was not interested. At this moment, the sun was shining, drinking juice extremely leisurely. Shui Qingyin's matter, Song Chu had already reported to him, and the result made him quite satisfied. Even if Shui Qingyin found out that he did it, Du Jiang did not care. When receiving the call from Shui Qingyin, Du Jiang was not surprised. He thought that she would reprimand him angrily. He was still thinking about how to laugh it off, but he did not expect that Shui Qingyin did not mention it at all. Instead, she invited him to dinner in the evening. Since Beauty Shui asked me out, even if I don't have time, I have to give her face, Du Jiang replied. He couldn't help but fantasize that if he could get intimate with her, then he would absolutely die without regrets. Unfortunately, this kind of woman was destined to not be someone he could get. Since Du Jiang had agreed, Shui Qingyin no longer talked nonsense. She whispered, 7 o'clock in the evening, the 6th mansion of enchantment. See you then. After hanging up the phone, Du Jiang pondered for a while. He could not help but plan to take a risk. He sneered and called Song Chu and ordered, Song Chu, bring a few masters in the evening and wait at the 6th mansion of enchantment. Shui Qingyin invited me to dinner. I guess she wants to have a showdown with me. Boss, I will arrange it. The number 1 henchman Song Chu nodded and said. If Shui Qingyin wanted to see Du Jiang, Qin Sheng naturally had to make a foolproof plan. Du Jiang dared to cause a car accident today. Who knew what else he dared to do? However, Qin Sheng had no helpers. He was alone, so he must find someone to help him. Instead, they went straight back to the Shangri-La Hotel to rest and prepare for how to deal with Du Jiang at night. Qin Sheng was a little sleepy, so he had a good night's sleep so that he could recuperate and go all out at night. He slept until Shui Qingyin called him. He then took a shower, changed his clothes, and went out. Shui Qingyin was already waiting for him in the lobby downstairs. She had just met a friend. In order to meet Du Jiang, Shui Qingyin also dressed up a little and put on light makeup. Those who did not know would think that she was going to use a honey trap. The Nanjing branch changed them to a BMW 5 Series. After Qin Sheng navigated to the destination, he drove the car slowly. Shui Qingyin stared out of the window and said, I just called the boss. I also told him about the car accident. The boss has already said that if we can't reach an agreement tonight, we will go back to Shanghai. Don't worry about the rest of the things. He will deal with it. It seems that your boss is angry, Qin Sheng said thoughtfully. Du Jiang was provoking the bottom line of Shui Qingyin's company. Since he did not play according to the rules, there was no need to be polite to him here. Well, even if he agrees to withdraw the investment, this matter will not end like this. I said that he will pay the price, Shui Qingyin said coldly. No one had ever dared to treat her like this. Number 6 mansion was located on Enchantment Street in Gula District. This was a restaurant opened by a friend of Shui Qingyin in Nanjing. The main dish was Huaiyang cuisine. It was next to the river, and there was a small park in the north. The environment was quite elegant. Shui Qingyin and Qin Sheng arrived early. After waiting for about half an hour, Du Jiang came late. He took 2 bodyguards with him. This was his standard when he went out. After all, he had offended many people before, so he would be more or less cautious. Oh, I'll let the beautiful Shui wait for a long time. I'm sorry. At this time, Nanjing City is a bit crowded, Du Jiang said with a hypocritical face. Shui Qingyin smiled and said, Mr. Du is too polite. I just arrived not long ago. They sat opposite each other. Shui Qingyin asked the waiter to bring the menu to Du Jiang. Du Jiang pushed it to Shui Qingyin and said, Manager Shui, I have no appetite recently. Shui Qingyan did not refuse again. She casually ordered 6 or 7 dishes. She woke up early with red wine and asked the waiter to pour the wine. She whispered, "Mr. Du, I have troubled you these 2 days. Let me drink to you." "It's no trouble. We are partners. I hope Manager Shui can understand some things." Du Jiang raised his glass and responded. After a glass of wine, Du Jiang asked casually, "I heard that Manager Shui had a car accident today. I don't know if it's serious. I wanted to call you, but I forgot." Shui Qingyan's face changed slightly. "What do you mean? Is it a naked provocation? It's not a big deal." "Thank you for your concern, Mr. Du." Shui Qingyan gritted her teeth and said. Du Jiang said aggressively, "Manager Shui, do you think I did it? No matter how shameless I am, I will not do such a thing. Manager Shui, don't worry. I have sent someone to investigate this matter. I will definitely figure it out for Manager Shui. Otherwise, I am afraid that Manager Shui will misunderstand." "Why would I think so?" Shui Qingyan shook her head with a bitter smile. Mr. Du was very casual. He lit a cigarette and said, "I know that Manager Shui invited me to dinner today. It's about the matter of both companies. Manager Shui, you also know that our company is a little difficult recently. But the project with your company is about to end. Can't you wait a little longer?" Shui Qingyan was originally very patient, but after being provoked by Du Jiang, she did not intend to pretend to be polite. Instead, she directly came to the point and said, "Mr. Du, you are a smart person. Let's not beat around the bush. Since the company can send me here, it means that they know the specific situation. Mr. Du should have some understanding of the background of our company. I hope Mr. Du will think twice." Shui Qingyan's words made the smile on Mr. Du's face disappear in an instant. He snorted and said, "Mr. Shui, you're threatening me because the soft approach didn't work. I know that the background of your company is not simple, but I, Du Jiang, am not a vegetarian. This is Nanjing, not Shanghai. Don't do that to me." Qin Sheng, who was standing next to Du Jiang, was shocked. It seemed that Ms. Chong Sam did not intend to negotiate with Du Jiang at all. She directly used force. Du Jiang was also angered. "Nanjing? Ha!" Shui Qingyan sneered and said, "Don't think that we can't do anything to you because you are in Nanjing. It seems that Mr. Du still does not know the strength of our company. We know what you do. If I really want to deal with you, I have a lot of ways. You know the current situation of your company better than me. Since I have said all kinds of good words, but you still intend to fight with me, then we don't need to continue. Our company's principle is very simple. There are 2 choices. One is to withdraw funds. The other is to transfer the equity of your high-quality project to us. You can choose one. If you didn't say this just now, I might think about it. But since you said so, you can rest assured that I will never agree." Du Jiang said playfully, "Since you know what I do, then you are not afraid that I intend to fight to the death. Since you force me like this, then don't blame me. Du Jiang, don't be so shameless. Do you really think that I don't know who caused the car accident at noon?" Shui Qingyan suddenly stood up and asked loudly. The atmosphere was tense for a while. Qin Sheng also began to be careful. He was always on guard against Du Jiang's 2 bodyguards. He must not let them hurt Shui Qingyan. Du Jiang suppressed his anger and was not angry at all. He said, "Who are you trying to scare? I am not scared. Today's car accident was done by me. What do you do to me?" "Du Jiang, I hope you remember this," Shui Qingyan said angrily. After saying this, Shui Qingyan did not intend to continue eating. She was really fed up with Du Jiang's ugly face. She could not help but regret this trip to Nanjing. She got up directly and was ready to leave. Du Jiang's 2 bodyguards directly stopped Shui Qingyan. Obviously, they did not intend to let Shui Qingyan leave. Qin Sheng did not hesitate to stand in front of Shui Qingyan, squinted and said, "If you know what's good for you, go away." The 2 bodyguards glared at Qin Sheng and seemed to want to fight. At this time, Du Jiang waved his hand and said, "Mr. Shui, I wanted to have a good talk with you. Since you want to make such a scene, then I will accompany you to the end. Another word of advice, the security environment in Nanjing is not very good." After saying this, Du Jiang drank red wine and laughed. Only then did the two bodyguards make way for them. Qin Sheng protected Xue Qingyan as they left. Xue Qingyan's face was very pale. She had never been bullied like this before. Whether in Hangzhou or Shanghai, no one dared to treat her like this. Since Du Jiang did not take her seriously, she had to let Du Jiang know what the price was. In fact, Du Jiang really did not know the detailed background of Xue Qingyan's company. He only heard that the government had a strong relationship, not to mention Xue Qingyan's identity. If he knew, he would never do this. On the way out, Qin Sheng comforted Xue Qingyan, "Sister, don't be angry. This kind of villain, there is no need to take him seriously." Xue Qingyan shook her head with a cold face and said, "Because he is a villain, I do not intend to continue talk with him. To deal with a villain, then use the way to deal with a villain." "That means this matter will not be discussed?" Qin Sheng asked. Xue Qingyan had completely given up. She would explain to the company later, but she was worried that Du Jiang would really make trouble. So she directly said, "No, let's go back to Shanghai, directly." "Okay, I will buy the ticket now," Qin Sheng said in a deep voice. After Xue Qingyan and Qin Sheng left, Du Jiang, who was sitting and drinking, directly smashed the wine glass, dialed the phone directly, and ordered, "Song Chu, directly tie up my bitch. I won't let her taste my power tonight." The business of number 6 mansion was very good. When they came just now, there was no parking space in front of the door, so they had to park the car in the back parking space, which was next to the park, but it was gray. When they just walked to the BMW 5 Series, 7 or 8 men came out from behind several cars at this time, all holding weapons in their hands, and directly surrounded Qin Sheng and Xue Qingyan. Chapter 88. Damn it, he was courting death. Second update. Asking for monthly votes. Last time when Qin Sheng realized that he could not leave, he accompanied Han Bing back to Tianshui. That night, old Master Wu, whom Qin Sheng respected, and Chen Baiming, who wanted to die, stayed in Tianshui and never came back. It took Qin Sheng many days to recover from that incident. That was why he wanted to kill Zhou Wenwu. Did he not know how risky it was to kill someone in Shanghai? What's more, he wanted to kill Zhou Wenwu, who was so skillful that he could not be compared to him at all. No, Qin Sheng knew that. But if he did not do it, he might feel guilty for the rest of his life. People should live well. Tonight, 7 or 8 men with weapons surrounded him and Xue Qingyan. Qin Sheng did not want what happened in Tianshui to happen again. He would rather lie here than let Xue Qingyan get hurt. As long as he could get out of here alive, he would definitely kill Du Jiang. Today's car accident had already challenged his bottom line. Now he still dared to do such a thing. Did he really think that he could do whatever he wanted in Nanjing? Qin Sheng did not have time to talk nonsense. He looked around calmly and said in a low voice, "Sister, I will stop them. You get in the car and drive away. Don't worry about me, or we won't be able to leave. Let's go together." Xue Qingyan also knew what was going on, but she still said so. She did not want to see Qin Sheng get into trouble because of her. Qin Sheng was most annoyed at this time. He gritted his teeth and said, "Don't talk nonsense. Listen to me. Even if I die, you can only avenge me if you are alive. Go." Just as they were talking, the man who took the lead had already given the order. Qin Sheng did not dare to be long-winded. He directly put the key in Xue Qingyan's hand and rushed up without hesitation. He wanted to leave enough time for Xue Qingyan. As long as Xue Qingyan could drive out, he could find a way to leave. Xue Qingyan hurriedly opened the lock and prepared to get in the car. On the other side, Qin Sheng was already fighting with the man at the front. 7 or 8 thugs with weapons in their hands naturally posed a great threat to Qin Sheng. However, if it was a one-on-one fight, they were not Qin Sheng's match at all. After all, they did not know Qin Sheng's power. In order to survive, Qin Sheng could only kill them this time. He went all out. After dodging the slash of the man at the front, Qin Sheng directly kicked his face. Then he grabbed the man's arm and hit his chest with his knee, taking the machete from his hand. At this time, 3 people had followed up and surrounded Qin Sheng. At the same time, the others bypassed Qin Sheng and went toward Xue Qingyan. Xue Qingyan had just opened the car door and had not gotten in yet. The situation was a little critical. Qin Sheng suddenly swung his hand and directly threw the machete in his hand toward the man who was already close to Xue Qingyan. He did not care that the machetes of the others were about to hurt him. Qin Sheng was born with a knife. If he could not hit the target, he would have played with it for so many years in vain. The machete was directly inserted into the chest of the man at the front. The man shouted. Qin Sheng kicked the man on the left away and desperately ran back to support Xue Qingyan. Although Xue Qingyan had already gotten in the car, it had not started yet. A man was trying to pull the car door with all his strength. Xue Qingyan held the door tightly from the inside. The two of them were in a deadlock, while the other man intended to get in from the front passenger seat. As Qin Sheng ran back, his back was naturally exposed. The machete in the hand of the man who was closest to Qin Sheng directly cut Qin Sheng's shoulder, leaving a wound that was at least 10 centimeters long. Blood instantly dyed Qin Sheng's clothes red. Qin Sheng frowned and snorted, but he did not care at all. Seeing that the man had bent over to get in the car, Qin Sheng did not hesitate to kick the car door. With a bang, the car door tightly clamped the man's head, making him faint in an instant. Taking advantage of the momentum, Qin Sheng rolled twice and picked up the man's machete from the ground. With the machete in his hand, Qin Sheng was no longer afraid. He was ready to kill because they had completely angered Qin Sheng. Turning to face the man who had just cut him, Qin Sheng swung the machete, bent over to avoid the knife next to him, and at the same time, cut open the man's abdomen. Seeing that the thing inside was already out, the scene at this time was really too bloody, and the air was full of the smell of blood. After Qin Sheng killed a bloody path, he killed the man who was in a deadlock with Xue Qingyan. Finally, she could start the BMW 5 Series. At this time, there were already 4 men lying in a pool of blood. Xue Qingyan started the BMW 5 Series and quickly locked the door. She was finally safe, but Qin Sheng was still in danger. Not only was Qin Sheng's back injured, but his arms and thighs were also cut. Seeing that Xue Qingyan did not intend to leave, Qin Sheng shouted, "Go!" Qin Sheng's face was full of blood, and it was impossible to see his original appearance. Xue Qingyan was scared and did not dare to stay any longer. She drove directly to the intersection. As soon as Xue Qingyan left, Qin Sheng did not continue to fight. He desperately chased the BMW out, only to see that when the BMW turned the corner, it suddenly came back, like a wild horse out of control, rushing into the crowd. This speed was so fast that it almost hit Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng rolled away, but the others were not so lucky. Xue Qingyan directly hit one of them and sent him flying. Qin Sheng knew what Xue Qingyan meant, and he was very grateful. If Xue Qingyan really left him behind, Qin Sheng would have nothing to say, but he would definitely feel uncomfortable in his heart. After getting up, Qin Sheng rushed over with a big stride, directly opened the door, and jumped in. Before the other 3 men could react, Xue Qingyan had already stepped on the accelerator and rushed out again. This time, Xue Qingyan did not stop. Arms, thighs, and back, Qin Sheng was cut in 3 parts of his body, especially the wound on his back, which was very serious. At this moment, blood had dyed the back seat red. Qin Sheng gasped for breath, completely relaxed, and collapsed in the back seat. "Qin Sheng, how are you?" Smelling the pungent smell of blood, Xue Qingyan shouted with red eyes. Qin Sheng said weakly, "Sister, go to the hospital. I'm injured." "Okay, hold on. You must hold on. I'll send you to the hospital now." Xue Qingyan did not know how Qin Sheng's injury was, but from Qin Sheng's tone, she knew that the injury was more serious and more likely to threaten his life. At this time, Xue Qingyan had no time to care about anything else. She only thought in her heart that she must not let Qin Sheng have an accident. She drove the car in a hurry, shuttling through the busy road, and even bumped into several cars, not to mention directly rushing through the red light. In the number 6 mansion, Du Jiang had not left yet. At this time, he was a little hungry. Anyway, he had ordered so many dishes, it would be a pity not to eat them. He did not think that there would be an accident at all. He had always been at ease when Song Chu handled things. This kind of thing was in the bag. They used to do it often, but today there was Qin Sheng, the variable. When Song Chu called him and told him, Boss, it's a mess. Shui Qingyan ran away, and we injured 4 or 5 brothers. After listening, Du Jiang directly smashed the red wine glass on the ground and shouted, "What are you doing? You can't even do this little thing. What can I do with you? A group of useless people." Boss, calm down. I'm sending people to chase after her. I didn't expect that Shui Qingyan's assistant turned out to be a master. I made a mistake. If I knew it, I would have sent a few tough guys, Song Chu explained. Thinking of Shui Qingyan's background, Du Jiang roared, "Song Chu, are you crazy? You actually sent people to chase after her. Hurry up and withdraw from me. Let your men go out to hide for a while and clean up the mess. Don't let them find out that we did it." "Sorry, boss, I was wrong. I'll do it now." Song Chu was shocked and quickly replied. After hanging up the phone, Du Jiang was a little annoyed. He actually let Shui Qingyan, the bitch, run away. But he still did not take it seriously. No one knew that he did it. So what if they knew that he did it? After searching for the nearest hospital, Shui Qingyan went straight to the People's Hospital of Jiangsu Province. Such a big thing had happened. Shui Qingyan had lost her sense of propriety. She directly dialed the phone number of her powerful brother. When the phone was connected, Shui Qingyan, who had not cried for many years, burst into tears. Shui Deming, who was on a business trip in Beijing, was stunned. He had never seen his sister lose her composure like this. He frowned and said, "Qingyan, what's wrong? Don't cry. Tell me slowly. Even if the sky falls down, I will support you." Hearing the painful moans of her brother in the back seat, Shui Qingyan forced herself to stop crying. But she still kept sobbing and said, "Brother, something happened to me in Nanjing." When Shui Qingyan finished telling him what had happened, Shui Qingming's face was extremely ugly. Although she was not his biological sister, when his father brought her home, Shui Deming had always treated her as a sister. Since she was a child, no one had ever bullied her. Now someone actually wanted to kill her. It could be seen how angry Shui Qingming was at the moment. At this time, he was so anxious that he secretly swore that no matter who it was, he would make them pay a heavy price. "Qingyan, don't cry. You take your friend to the hospital first. I'll make a call now." "It will be okay," Shui Deming said, clenching his hands tightly. Shui Qingyan nodded with red eyes and said, "Okay." After hanging up the phone call with her brother, Shui Qingyan immediately called the big boss. She and the big boss were also like siblings. When such a big thing happened, the first 2 people she thought of were her brother and the big boss. The big boss was attending a party in Hong Kong. The people who attended were all famous people in Hong Kong. When he received the call from Shui Qingyan, he thought that she would report the results of the incident. He did not expect that Shui Qingyan would cry on the phone and could not even say a word. The big boss realized that something was wrong. The smile on his face disappeared instantly. Like Shui Deming, he had never seen Shui Qingyan lose her composure. He said in a low voice, "Qingyan, did something happen?" When Shui Qingyan heard the familiar voice, she cried even louder. Her tears blurred her vision. Then, she had a Honda on the left. Seeing that they were about to reach the hospital, Shui Qingyan did not stop at all. She stepped on the accelerator and continued to move forward. A few minutes later, the tragic BMW 5 Series finally reached the Provincial People's Hospital. The big boss on the other side of the phone also waited for a few minutes. At this time, Shui Qingyan finally spoke. When she roughly explained what happened that night, the big boss in the center of the party smashed the wine glass in his hand and said angrily, "Damn it, you're asking for death." Chapter 89. The Momentum of Thunder, asking for monthly votes, asking for tips, asking for collections. Shui Qingyan, who was panicked, was in a hurry. She was driving and making phone calls at the same time. She knew that Du Jiang had an extraordinary background in Nanjing. He started from the gray industry and did not go to prison today. People with discerning eyes could understand his background. So she was afraid that after they escaped, Du Jiang would not give up easily and continue to target them. However, she did not have any useful connections in Nanjing, so she hurriedly asked her brother and boss for help, for fear that there would be another accident. If it was in Shanghai or Hangzhou, Shui Qingyan naturally did not need to ask others for help. She could solve this matter with a few phone calls but no one dared to do anything to her. Xue Qingyan regretted that she underestimated Du Jiang. She thought it was a very simple thing with some twists and turns at most. She did not expect that it would come to this point. She could only say that Du Jiang was really desperate. A BMW ran the red light in the downtown area and caused an accident in the wrong direction, causing many cars to escape. The most important thing was that there was a lot of blood on the car body, which showed how bad the impact was. It could not help but alarm the traffic police and the patrolling police. They heard the news and went straight to the Provincial People's Hospital. After all, it was a provincial capital city, and they could not afford this responsibility. Xue Qingyan's big boss was called Old Chun, who was in his 40s. He was almost invisible on weekdays and rarely appeared in the company. Xue Qingyan's investment company had always been very low-key. There was little relevant information on the internet or the news, but it managed amazing assets. It was said that Old Chin's background was extremely deep, and he might be a red child. Only those who were familiar with him knew it, and most of the others were guessing. As for Xue Deming, he was well known. After all, he was transferred from Zhejiang to Shanghai, and he had a lot of limelight. Now, he could be regarded as having a good career. If he went on smoothly, he would at least be above the ministerial level. After Lao Chun and Xue Deming made several phone calls in succession, many people in Nanjing were worried about this matter. They rushed to the Provincial People's Hospital without stopping, praying that nothing would happen to this lady and her friend. Otherwise, they really didn't know how to explain to the big shots. It could be seen how powerful Lao Chun and Xue Deming were. From now on, this was no longer a matter of Xue Qingyan and Du Jiang, but a game of power, the most realistic side of this society. In the operating room of the emergency department of the Provincial People's Hospital, Qin Sheng was performing surgery. In fact, it was not a big deal. Except for the serious wound on his back, the wounds on his arms and thighs were not serious. It was just that Qin Sheng was a little weak due to excessive blood loss. In addition, his whole body was covered in blood. Xue Qingyan's delicate clothes were also stained with a lot of blood. At this moment, she sat outside the operating room and answered several phone calls in succession. They were all friends of her brother and Lao Chun. A total of 4 people were on the way. At the same time, they kept making phone calls to make arrangements, including quickly investigating the bad case in the parking lot of number 6 mansion. Xue Qingyan did not expect that 2 accidents would happen in a row in one day, and she would be admitted to the hospital twice in a row. She had never experienced such a thrilling thing. In the past, even if others wanted to deal with her, they would not dare to take such a risk. Not long after, the first to arrive were the traffic police and the police. They found the person involved all the way. Staring at Xue Qingyan, who was at a loss, the traffic police said in a deep voice, "Miss, you are suspected of several hit-and-run accidents. Please come with us." Xue Qingyan did not speak. At this time, she did not have time to deal with the traffic police and the police. However, the traffic police and the police kept asking questions, and their attitude was getting more and more impolite, which made Xue Qingyan very annoyed. She knew that she was wrong, but she had no choice. She had to call the executive deputy director of the provincial department and then directly handed the phone to the traffic police. The traffic police and the police were used to this kind of people who looked for connections after accidents. They answered the phone impatiently and said, "If you have any problems, please talk to our leader. She has a bad character." She ran the red light and went against the traffic police. "Leader? I am your leader," the leader said in a deep voice, and then told them his name. At the same time, he told them that he was on the way. They did not need to care about this matter. It was also involved in other cases and had been handed over to the municipal bureau. When the traffic police heard the name, they were shocked. They changed from being arrogant at the beginning to being submissive. In the end, they handed the phone to Xue Qingyan respectfully. At the same time, they told Xue Qingyan, "Director, you will be here soon. Don't worry and don't be afraid. We will stay here to protect you." So the traffic police and the police came to take Xue Qingyan away, but in the end, they became Xue Qingyan's protection. Within half an hour, Xue Deming and Lao Chun had called several big bosses. 2 of them came in person, and the other two sent their secretaries. After getting familiar with each other, they also knew what had happened. They were quite shocked. They did not expect that they dared to treat Xue Qingyan like this. Didn't they know the identity of this woman? This was not only looking for death, but also looking for trouble for them. Several leaders of the Provincial People's Hospital also came, and quickly said that they would try their best to rescue the patient and so on. After going in and asking, they got the result. The patient's condition was not as serious as they thought. The wound had been sutured, and the blood had been transfused. The operation would be over soon, so everyone was relieved. At the same time, these big bosses or secretaries also quickly reported the situation. It did not take long for the provincial department to set up an investigation team, which was responsible for today's case and quickly commanded the action. Under the urging of the power, the police divided into different routes and began to take action, including directly arresting Du Jiang. For this kind of person, he was originally a nominal figure in the provincial department. However, someone protected him, so he had been free. At this moment, the provincial department did not care whether there was direct evidence or not. They would arrest him first. Moreover, how could people like Du Jiang be clean? He started his career by relying on the gray industry. As for his backer, the provincial department had already got the support of the provincial leaders. Coupled with the background of Xue Deming and Lao Chun, they did not put Du Jiang and his backer in their eyes at all. Taking a step back, unless his backer wanted to die, he would not protect Du Jiang at this time. In the Zhongshan Golf Villa, Du Jiang did not know that this was the last dinner. If you often walked by the river, your shoes would be wet. He did not expect that Xue Qingyan could prize such a big power. It could only be said that he did not know Xue Qingyan's background at all. He thought she was just an ordinary executive of the other company. If he had inquired about Xue Qingyan carefully, he would not have done such a stupid thing. Seeing that Du Jiang was back, the mistress, who was wearing lace pajamas, walked over with a charming face while twisting her buttocks. She directly sat on Du Jiang's lap, hugged him tightly, and said coquettishly, "Honey, why did you come back so early today?" "Because I miss you, little devil," Du Jiang replied with a wretched face. His hands had reached into the little devil's pajamas and rubbed her snow-white skin. Thinking that he had not pampered this devil for some time, Du Jiang's desire was gradually burning. The little devil said shyly, "You are so annoying. You just came back and you bully me." "If I don't bully you, who else can I bully?" Du Jiang laughed and said. Then he directly picked up the little devil and went to the bedroom. Not long after, the bedroom was full of spring scenery. The little devil was under Du Jiang's body. The sound was really pleasant, but they did not know that 4 police cars had surrounded the whole villa. A group of armed special police and criminal police rushed directly into the villa and quickly controlled the bodyguards and servants of the whole villa. At the same time, they rushed to the upstairs bedroom. Du Jiang was preparing for the final sprint. There was a bang. The bedroom door was kicked open from the outside. Du Jiang was so scared that he surrendered in an instant. It was estimated that there would be sequelae in the future. We turned to look at the door. Several policemen with guns had rushed into the room and stared at him coldly. "What are you doing?" Du Jiang said angrily. He did not expect that there would be such a big battle. These policemen did not care who you were. This was all an order from above. The person in charge directly waved his hand and said, "Take me away." In this way, Du Jiang tossed around so much, threatened and kidnapped, but he did not expect that Xue Qingyan's revenge was so fierce and direct. She did not talk nonsense with him at all. At the same time, in a club in Gula district, Song Chu was cleaning up the mess. He asked his men to send the injured brothers to where they had secret strongholds. At the same time, he arranged for those who had nothing to do to run away quickly. At this time, a group of heavily armed policemen rushed in. Everyone was stunned. They all squatted on the ground with their heads in their hands and were taken away. The storm was so fierce that it did not give you any chance to resist. Du Jiang, aren't you very powerful? Didn't you say that this is Nanjing, not Shanghai? Xue Qingyan will tell you with practical actions that you are just a nobody. In just a few hours, whether it was the executives of Du Jiang's company or his many confidants on the gray side, they were all taken away. It shocked the whole Nanjing city in an instant. Everyone was guessing what kind of big shot Du Jiang had offended and made them so angry. In the hospital, Xue Qingyan had been accompanying Qin Sheng. Xue Deming could not rush to Nanjing, but he asked his friend to accompany Xue Qingyan all the way, and he did everything behind the scenes. As for Lao Chun, he was on the plane and would arrive in the early morning. The operation was over, but the anesthesia had not disappeared. Qin Sheng was pushed into the intensive care unit in a daze. The doctor said that there was no danger to his life, and there was no injury to the vital parts and arteries and so on. Hearing this result, Xue Qingyan breathed a sigh of relief and was finally relieved. Qin Sheng's mobile phone was held by Xue Qingyan. Yu Kefi called. In the afternoon, Qin Sheng asked him for help. At this time, he had found out the detailed information. He was about to tell Qin Sheng, but he did not expect Xue Qingyan to answer the phone. When he was wondering, Xue Qingyan told him that Qin Sheng had an accident and had just finished the operation. Yu Kefi was shocked and quickly drove straight to the Provincial People's Hospital. When he arrived at the hospital, the operation had been finished. After hearing that Xue Qingyan was fine, he was relieved, so he accompanied Xue Qingyan to wait in the hospital. Chapter 90. Asking around, my friend is getting married today, so the update is a little late. After seeing Elder Chun, Xue Qingyan's uneasy heart was finally at ease. Elder Chun was like a stabilizing force, which made Xue Qingyan feel safe. It seemed that with Elder Chun by her side, nothing was a problem. In the past, when she was in the company, it was because of Elder Chun's support that she could be fearless. Even if something happened, Elder Chun would take care of the group of directors. Lao Chun was serious in speech and manner, but there was a kind of momentum that ordinary people could not figure out. He looked a little like Wu Xiaobo, but a little thinner. The outline of his face was more solid, and his eyes were more experienced. Lao Chun had figured out the cause and effect of the matter. It was not a difficult thing to do. However, because of the undercover agent in the Nanjing branch, the negotiation could not continue. Secondly, Du Jiang was really bold, which made Xue Qingyan suffer losses. No one expected that such a small thing should make such a big deal. After asking about Qin Sheng's situation, Lao Chun patted Xue Qingyan's shoulder and said, "You stay in the hospital. I will deal with the things outside. You don't have to worry about anything. After this thing is over, you should have a good rest for a while." "Sorry to make you worry," Xue Qingyan said with some embarrassment. Lao Chun shook his head and smiled bitterly. "With the relationship between our two families, there is no need to say this. Next time something happens, just tell me. Don't bother Brother Deming anymore. He just called me and scolded me. Fortunately, you are fine. If anything happens to you, I am afraid that he will not spare me. I just thought of you too. He just cares about me too much." Xue Qingyan had recovered and smiled slightly. Lao Chun sighed and said, "Okay, I will go back first. If anything happens, call me." Xue Qingyan had been accompanying Qin Sheng in the hospital all the time. Logically speaking, Qin Sheng was not related to her at all. Although Qin Sheng was responsible for her safety during this trip to Nanjing, she would also pay Qin Sheng the corresponding remuneration. This was a deal, not to mention that it was Qin Sheng who took the initiative to propose it. Qin Sheng also admitted that it was a favor investment. Even though something had happened now, what Qin Sheng did was what he should do. But for Qin Sheng, Xue Qingyan felt very strange. It seemed that she felt like Lao Chun and her brother, or maybe it was because she sympathized with him. An orphan who depended on his grandfather could become what he was today. Xue Qingyan absolutely did not believe that he had not experienced too many setbacks and vicissitudes. Just after 6 o'clock in the morning, Qin Sheng woke up. His last memory was in the operating room, so he was not surprised that he was in the hospital at this moment. He could not help but smile bitterly. It seemed that he had not smelled the hospital for a long time. It was not a big deal for him. This little injury was not a big deal. It was not a big deal. Xue Qingyan spent the whole night on the sofa outside. She only woke her up when the nurse came over and found that Qin Sheng was awake. Xue Qingyan hurriedly ran in and said with concern, "Qin Sheng, you're finally awake. Sister, I made you worry. It's all my fault for not being careful, Qin Sheng said with a bitter smile. Last night, he mainly wanted to protect Xue Qingyin and leave. If it was not for Xue Qingyin, this weak woman, even if 7 or 8 men with machetes, Qin Sheng would not be afraid at all. For him, it was not a challenge at all. Xue Qingyin said with relief, "Don't say that. As long as you are fine." Qin Sheng chuckled and said, "This injury is nothing. I won't die. My grandfather said that I'm tough. Even if I jump from the 18th floor, I'll only break my arms and legs at most." Xue Qingyin covered her mouth, laughing and angry at the same time. She said, "At this time, you are still joking. If I had known this, I would have let you die. It doesn't matter if I die, as long as you're fine, sister. I don't like to break my promise. I promised to protect you, so I can't let anything happen to you," Qin Sheng said seriously. "How do you feel now?" "The doctor said that the wound on your back is a little serious. You need to stay in the hospital for a week before you can be discharged," Xue Qingyin said. Qin Sheng did not care at all as he said, "You don't need to be hospitalized for such a small injury. Believe it or not, I will get out of bed right now and give you a set of Shaolin's 18 Arhat fists." "Can you be more serious?" Xue Qingyin said angrily. Qin Sheng chuckled as he said, "Actually, I just don't want to be hospitalized. I can't stand the smell of the hospital. I'm even more afraid of injections and medicines." Xue Qingyin stared at Qin Sheng and said, "I thought you were not afraid of anything. It turns out that you are afraid of something." Qin Sheng curled his lips and said, "I am not a god. Of course I am afraid. Anyway, you listen to me. Stay in the hospital for a week before you leave. Otherwise, I won't forgive you," Xue Qingyin warned him seriously. After the joke, Qin Sheng remembered and said, "Sister, Du Jiang, the bastard, set us up. I must take revenge. When I recover, I will kill him." Although Qin Sheng was not a gentleman, he still had to take revenge for this hatred. "Du Jiang," Xue Qingyin snorted and said, "You don't have to care about Du Jiang's affairs. His life is over." "What's wrong?" Qin Sheng frowned and did not understand. "After you went to the hospital last night, he has been arrested by the Nanjing police, including his confidants and the gang of thugs who fought last night. He will suffer the following things. He will not be able to get out of prison in this life," Xue Qingyin said, gnashing her teeth. This time she was careless and looked down on Du Jiang. In addition, no one dared to deal with her like this when the business was not good in the past. "Oh, that's good." Qin Sheng nodded thoughtfully. Obviously, this was all done by Xue Qingyin, which also let Qin Sheng know Xue Qingyin's power. At 7 o'clock, Yu Kefi came with his fiancée Lu Yi. When they saw Qin Sheng woke up, they were very happy. Finally, there was no accident. Xue Qingyin tossed around all night last night and slept on the sofa for a while. Now she was already tired. Qin Sheng let Xue Qingyin go back to the hotel first, take a bath, and have a good sleep. Xue Qingyin insisted on staying, but she could not bear Qin Sheng's entanglement, and finally returned to the hotel. Lu Yi sent Xue Qingyin out on behalf of Qin Sheng. Yu Kefi stared at Qin Sheng and sneered, "I told you not to provoke Du Jiang, but you didn't listen. Now look, you are lying in the hospital. I know you're going to make sarcastic remarks. I want to protect my sister. Without her, I will let them go," Qin Sheng said disapprovingly. Yu Kefi said helplessly, "Don't show off. Be careful in the future. The world is big, but your life is the most important. Others' lives are not as valuable as yours." "You are wrong," Qin Sheng said casually, but he did not argue with Yu Kefi. He knew that Yu Kefi was worried about him. After a while, Yu Kefi squinted and asked, "Boss, what is the background of your sister? Her power is not ordinary. Just a few phone calls in one night, Du Jiang was taken down by the municipal bureau. I heard that it was a direct order from the province. There was no chance to resist. As long as the investigation goes down, plus the mess of his company, his life is finished." "I don't know this. I have never asked. I just heard from others," Qin Sheng said meaningfully. Sometimes he had to sigh about the power of power. For the big shots in the eyes of ordinary people, as long as they had something on you, they could make you die without a burial place. Even if there was no something on you, there would be something on you. Not to mention Du Jiang. who had a great background of original sin. The only way was that you must have a stronger background than others to suppress them. You didn't tell Lao Er and Lao San about this, did you? Qin Sheng suddenly came to his senses. Yu Kefi shook his head and said, "How dare I? If I tell them, they won't do anything to you, but they will definitely scold me to death. If I let you have an accident in my territory, am I not looking for death? That's good. Don't tell outsiders about this." Qin Sheng nodded silently. In the next 2 days, Qin Sheng stayed in the hospital. Xue Qinyin said that she wanted to accompany him in the hospital. In the end, she was driven away by Qin Sheng. After all, there were a lot of things waiting to be dealt with in the company. Xue Qinyin had no choice but to go back to Shanghai first. Every day, people came to see Qin Sheng, but Qin Sheng did not know them. Qin Sheng also understood that they all came for Xue Qinyin or the people behind Xue Qinyin. However, no one would hit a smiling person. Qin Sheng could only tease them. Fortunately, these people just sent flowers and some fruits as gifts. Yu Kefi and Lu Yi would come every day. Lu Yi was responsible for Qin Sheng's 3 meals every day. Yu Kefi said that the hospital was not good. He wanted to give Qin Sheng a good tonic so that the wound could recover as soon as possible. In fact, the food in this VIP ward was better than the restaurants outside, but Qin Sheng appreciated this intention. Lu Yi, this beauty, did not find it troublesome. Every time she came, she would accompany Qin Sheng to chat. She also specially brought a few close friends. It was obvious that if Qin Sheng had a crush on someone, she could help him. This made Qin Sheng feel very embarrassed. As for Lu Yi, Qin Sheng felt that Yu Kefi really found a good wife. If such a wife did not treat him well in the future, Qin Sheng would be the first to disagree. Qin Sheng had been in Nanjing for so long. Naturally, he had to explain to the people in Shanghai. Qin Sheng first called Hao Lei and Chang Baji and told them truthfully that something happened in Nanjing and he went to the hospital. He was fine and could come back in 2 days. Chang Baji and Hao Lei asked if they needed to rush over. Qin Sheng said no, it had been solved. Next was with Han Bing. From Qin Sheng to Nanjing, Han Bing would call or send WeChat intermittently. Qin Sheng naturally had to report. For Han Bing's feelings, Qin Sheng was a bit complicated. But since Han Guoping's death, Qin Sheng would naturally take care of Han Bing. So he told Han Bing that things were not finished yet, and he would come back after a while. Han Bing did not think too much and asked Qin Sheng to take care of himself. As for Shangshan Ruoshui, Qin Sheng did not tell Jiang Xianbang about this. He planned to wait until he returned to Shanghai and find Jiang Xianbang to inquire about Xue Qingyin's background. This also made him a little psychologically prepared. When he got along with her in the future, he would have some sense of propriety. He directly told Su Lancheng that things were not finished yet, and he might have to ask for a few days' leave. Su Lancheng agreed without asking anything at all. He also told Qin Sheng to pay attention to safety and so on. Then he told Mizhen. There were many complaints, but they were all fooled. As for Su Qin, since that day at the Young Bar, they had not contacted each other. Chapter 91. Goodbye. After staying in the hospital for a week, Qin Sheng was really bored. Fortunately, Lu Yi and Yu Kefi came to chat with him every day. Most of the time, Qin Sheng was reading in the ward. Xue Qinyin knew that Qin Sheng liked reading, so she bought him a few books to kill time before leaving. Qin Sheng occasionally went out for a walk or flirted with the nurses. The nurses in the VIP ward were all good-looking. Yu Kefi and Lu Yi sent Qin Sheng to the high-speed railway station. They said that they would meet again when they went to Shanghai. In this way, Qin Sheng ended his trip to Nanjing, which was full of twists and turns. Back to Shilin Huayuan, Chang Baji and Hao Lei were not there. Several men lived in the house, but this house was clean. After Qin Sheng took a bath and changed his clothes, he went straight back to Shangshan Ruoshui. After leaving for so long, it was time to work hard. A plain life was the most real. He went to Su Lancheng's office first. Su Lancheng did not say anything. When he came out, he met Miz and said with a cold face, "You are finally willing to come back. I thought you were going to quit." "Mizzen, how can I quit such a good job? Besides, I don't want to leave you." Qin Sheng knew that Mizzen already had a problem with him, so he quickly flattered her. Mizzen put her hands on her waist and said, "Don't be glib. Hurry up and work for me. If you dare to ask for leave again this month, go away." This Mizzen was also unique when she scolded people. This was the difference between a young woman and a young girl. There was a kind of temptation in her gestures. After Qin Sheng left, Mizzen knocked on the door and entered Su Lanqing's office. After reporting the business, Mizzen said thoughtfully, "What is the background of this Qin Sheng? You just let him go? Why do you ask so much? Just turn a blind eye, as long as he does not cause trouble in Shangshan Ruoshui." Su Lanqing smiled faintly and did not intend to reveal the details of Qin Sheng. In the beginning, Mizzen was quite interested in Qin Sheng. However, Qin Sheng would ask for leave every few days, which made Mizzen very unhappy. After all, she was the manager of the reception department, and there were so many people watching over her. If Qin Sheng behaved like this, the others would definitely complain, which made it difficult for her. Qin Sheng walked around twice, but did not see Chang Baji. He did not know where this uncle had gone. He went back to the reception department and greeted his old acquaintances. Brother Liu, Tang Wan, and Song Siyu were all busy. They asked Qin Sheng where he had gone for such a long time. Qin Sheng said that he had something to do at home and went home. Ever since Wang Haichao was set up by Qin Sheng and Yu Fengji, he had been picking on Qin Sheng in every way he could. He even had a heated argument with Yu Fengji. Everyone in the reception department knew about the conflict between the two of them. After seeing Qin Sheng, Wang Haichao naturally wanted to mock him. "Qin Sheng, do you really think that Shangshan Ruoshui is your home? You can come and go as you please. The time you take leave is longer than the time you work. Look at the reception department. Which employee is as sloppy as you? If you don't want to work here, get lost. Don't occupy the toilet." Deputy Manager Wang, it seems that you are only the deputy manager of the reception department, not the general manager of Shangshan Ruoshui. Then you have no right to ask me to get lost. If you have nowhere to vent your anger, I can teach you a few moves of Wing Chun. You can practice it to strengthen your body. Qin Sheng did not give Wang Haichao any face and directly retorted. Wang Haichao's face was gloomy. "Qin Sheng, don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you know a few members. If you want to do well in Shangshan Ruoshui, I advise you to keep a low profile." Deputy Manager Wang, you don't have to worry about this. Qin Sheng was too lazy to care about this guy. Did he really think that he came to Shangshan Ruoshui to be bullied by him? "If you push me too hard, believe it or not, I will ask you to get lost." At this time, Yu Fengji appeared out of nowhere and sneered. "Deputy Manager Wang, how impressive. Yu Fengji, it seems that this has nothing to do with you." When Yu Fengji appeared, Wang Haichao's face became even uglier. "It's nothing, I just came out to see you show off," Yu Fengji said indifferently. Naturally, she was not afraid of Wang Haichao. Wang Haichao did not get angry. Instead, he laughed. "Oh, I was wondering why Qin Sheng was so fearless in Shangshan Ruoshui. Turns out that he has your support. What is your relationship? Could it be that he is your little lover?" These words were a little vicious. Qin Sheng narrowed his eyes and stared at Wang Haichao. Yu Fengji snorted. "Do you think that everyone is like you? Don't think that no one knows about your stupid things. It's just that everyone turns a blind eye." "Yo, are you threatening me?" Wang Haichao knew what Yu Fengji was talking about. His relationship with the few beauties in the reception department was unclear, and everyone had some rumors. "How dare I threaten you? You are the candidate for the future manager of the security department." Yu Fengji laughed. At this time, Mizzen came out from Su Lanqing's place and saw the three standing there. She scolded, "Are you all so free? Don't you have anything to do?" Seeing Mizzen come out, they did not dare to quarrel anymore. Wang Haichao left with a look of disdain. Yu Fengji and Qin Sheng went to the second floor. After going upstairs, Yu Fengji said softly, "Ignore this mad dog Wang Haichao. He just doesn't like you. These days when you're not here, he has been arguing with me a lot because of what happened last time. I'm taking the blame for you. You used me last time, and Wang Haichao could not do anything to you. Naturally, he vented his anger on me," Qin Sheng said calmly. Today, Yu Fengji stood up for him, which made Qin Sheng a little confused. After all, he had taken advantage of Yu Fengji last time. Yu Fengji said in a low voice, "I used you, and you also took advantage of me. We are even. When did I take advantage of you?" Qin Sheng said deliberately. Yu Fengji's expression changed slightly. "Qin Sheng, I'm giving you a way out. Don't be so ungrateful. Did you offend the 2 deputy managers of the reception department? Anyway, I have already offended them. It doesn't matter this time." "Ha ha," Qin Sheng said, half-jokingly. Yu Fengji could tell that Qin Sheng was deliberately teasing her. She snorted and said, "I can't be bothered with you." Then she left. It was not a busy day. Chang Baji only showed up in the evening. According to the security guard, Chang Baji was selecting new members of the security department and cleaning up all the unqualified ones. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Qin Sheng and Chang Baji left one after another. When Qin Sheng got in the car at the intersection, Chang Baji asked, "How's the recovery?" "It's okay. The knife on the back is a little serious. I stayed in the hospital for a week. Otherwise, I would have come back long ago," Qin Sheng explained casually, as if it was just a trivial matter for him. Chang Baji said angrily, "Why are you so careless? If I knew it would be like this, I would have accompanied you to Nanjing. It was an accident. I didn't expect that the other party dared to be so ruthless. At that time, I also wanted to protect Sister Shui. Otherwise, I would not have been injured. But this injury is worth it. At least I have a position with Sister Shui." Qin Sheng comforted himself. But what he was most curious about now was the identity of Shui Qingyan. Yu Kefi said that Du Jiang was not simple, but he was killed by Shui Qingyan's big shot in one night. There was no chance to fight back. Chang Baji shook his head helplessly and said, "Is it over? No sequelae?" Qin Sheng sighed and said, "It was over that night. The behind-the-scenes mastermind was directly arrested. That person is also a big shot in Nanjing, but he had no power to fight back. Alas, Lao Chong, sometimes power is really a good thing." Shui Qingyan's background is so deep. Chang Baji already knew who Qin Sheng was talking about Sister Shui. After all, he now knew Shangshan Ruoshui. Qin Sheng nodded silently and said, "She is not simple. I'm going to ask Uncle Jiang another day." After knowing Qin Sheng for such a long time, Chang Baji had gradually understood Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng was a man with ambition in his heart. He also knew how to realize his ambition step by step. Shangshan Ruoshui was just a springboard for him. Before he had enough strength, he also knew how to hide his ambition. Chang Baji was looking forward to how far the grandson taught by the old man would go in the end. Qin Sheng just returned to Shanghai. Naturally, Han Bing couldn't wait to run over. She and Hao Lei waited for Chang Baji and Qin Sheng in a restaurant next to Shilin Huayuan. They parked the car in the community and walked over. In a Mercedes-Benz Maybach at the gate of Shilin Huayuan, a middle-aged man was staring at Qin Sheng and Chang Baji slowly coming out. The man's eyes were very complicated, but his face was very calm. Until Qin Sheng and Chang Baji went far, he withdrew his eyes. "Master, are you still not going to see young Master?" The driver was a strong man. He asked in a low voice. The middle-aged man in the back seat shook his head and said, "Don't worry. So many years have passed. 1 or 2 days don't matter. Alas, I'm really afraid that young Master won't be able to live until that day. Young Master has suffered too much. 2 days ago in Nanjing, he walked around the gates of hell." "You are really cruel," the strong man who was driving said with some distress. The middle-aged man said disapprovingly, "If he dies, it is also fate." "Alas," the strong man sighed. He was just a servant of the Qin family. Although he was the master's confidant and dared to say something, he dared not to make a decision on this kind of matter. Miss has also been in Shanghai these 2 days. Will she already know about young Master's news? The man who was driving thought of this matter and asked with some confusion. The middle-aged man said thoughtfully, "As long as you don't say anything, she won't be able to know. Old Madam is in Shanghai. She is here to celebrate her birthday." "You are not going?" The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "No, Even if I go, old madam will not let me in. Let's not talk about this. Let's go to Chongming Island. In fact, the strong man did not know that other than him, the middle-aged man had another line of sight. After all, Qin Sheng was his son. It was impossible for him to ignore it. Otherwise, he would not have waited here for 2 hours just to see him. The strong man started the Mercedes-Benz Maybach and slowly left Shilin-Huayuan. After so many years, he had seen the grudges between the Su family and the Qin family. It was really entangled. It could be said that old madam really hated the Qin family. She had lost her daughter and grandson. No wonder she did not let the master into the house for so many years. Fortunately, the children of the Su family were understanding and had helped the master a lot these years. Chapter 92. I was just about to ask you. If a person's values are not right, then I really can't say anything. It was already very cold in Shanghai in late December. It was said that the North suffered from physical attacks, and the South suffered from magical attacks. Qin Sheng, who had been in Shanghai for a few years, was already used to it. Winter always made people feel lonely. The pedestrians on the street all put on down jackets and woolen coats. Compared to summer, this was a season that men hated. It had been a week since Qin Sheng came back from Nanjing. Recently, everyone was very busy. Chang Baji went out early and came back late every day. Sometimes Qin Sheng came back alone. His body was gradually recovering, so Qin Sheng went to the gym again. He went to the bookstore every 2 or 3 days to choose some interesting books. He also found other books by the original owner of the book, The Gains and Losses of China's History of Politics, that he had read last time. There was a book called Thick Black Theory that was highly respected in modern times, and a book about the red-top businessman, Hu Xuan. Qin Sheng really wanted to know who the original owner was. In the afternoon, Qin Sheng was serving in the private room on the 2nd floor. When he came out to get some fruits, Brother Yu told him that Ms. Chong Sam had come and was waiting for him in the blue private room. Brother Liu asked Song Siu to exchange with Qin Sheng, and then Qin Sheng went to find Ms. Chong Sam. Yu Fengji was at the door. She was not surprised when she saw Qin Sheng. It seemed that Miss Shui would ask for Qin Sheng's service every time she came. But today, there was another VVIP member besides Miss Shui, so Mizan asked Yu Fengji to wait here. Yu Fengji said with jealousy, "What's your relationship with Miss Shui? Did Miss Shui recommend you to come to Shangshan, Ruo Shui? Why do I feel that you are very interested in these things?" Qin Sheng asked. Yu Fengji snorted, "Say it if you want. What are you showing off for?" Qin Sheng was too lazy to respond to her. He always felt that this woman could not be conquered by ordinary men. Recently, she wanted to ease the relationship with him with a purpose. He pushed the door open and entered the private room. In addition to Ms. Chong Sam, there was an old man with white hair. The old man looked kind and his eyes were smiling. He was holding an antique cup and talking with confidence. Qin Sheng had seen this old man in the introduction of Shangshan, Ruo Shui. He seemed to be called He Shilai. This name was quite interesting. "Miss Shui, Mr. He, how can I help you?" Qin Sheng greeted respectfully. If only Shui Qingyan was here, Qin Sheng would definitely not be so polite. However, there were outsiders here after all. It had been a long time since Shui Qingyan saw Qin Sheng being so serious. She burst out laughing. Qin Sheng looked puzzled. He rarely saw Shui Qingyan smile so brightly. He had told Shui Qingyan before when he came back from Nanjing. However, Shui Qingyan had been in Hangzhou for the past few days. She just came back today and came to Shangshan Ruo Shui. "Qin Sheng, why are you so cute today?" Shui Qingyan said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. If a woman said a man was cute, their relationship must not be simple. Qin Sheng murmured, "Miss Shui, what's wrong? Uncle Lu, does my brother look silly?" Shui Qingyan ignored Qin Sheng and said to the old man beside her with a smile. The silver-haired old man stared at Qin Sheng with a smile. Before Qin Sheng came in, Shui Qingyan had told him that she had a younger brother who worked here. "Little Qin, there are no outsiders here. Qingyan and I are friends. You can do whatever you want, don't mind me." The old man laughed. Shui Qingyan then said, "Did you hear what Uncle Lu said? There are no outsiders here. Just call me sister. Qin Sheng finally understood why Xue Qingyan had been smiling so happily just now. He scratched his head and said, Uncle Lu, I'm sorry for making you laugh. Little Qin, sit down and talk. Don't just stand there. The old man waved his hand, and Qin Sheng quickly sat down opposite Xue Qingyan. Xue Qingyan asked casually, How's your recovery? It's been so long, I'm fine now. Qin Sheng laughed. Xue Qingyan teased him on purpose. Really? Then show me a set of Shaolin's 18 Arhut fists. Qin Sheng looked confused and then said weakly, Sister, for real? I'm just kidding. You're usually so smart. Why are you so silly today? Xue Qingyan covered her mouth and laughed. She found Qin Sheng more and more interesting. The old man thought for a while and said, Little Qin, I heard from Qingyan that you know martial arts. Just a little. It's just for self-defense. It's not elegant, Qin Sheng said modestly. The old man took the initiative and said, If you're really interested in martial arts, I know a master. He's 70 years old and was a martial arts fanatic when he was young. He trained many talents for the army and now lives in Tianmu Mountain in Hangzhou. If there's a chance, come to Hangzhou and I'll take you to meet him. If he thinks you're good, you can learn from him. Thank you, Uncle Lu. If there's a chance, I'll pay you a visit in Hangzhou, Qin Sheng said politely. Ms. Chongsam had shown her sibling relationship with Qin Sheng on such an occasion. It was obvious that she was helping him. After the incident in Nanjing, Qin Sheng felt that Ms. Chongsam had taken him seriously. Xue Qingyan asked meaningfully, Qin Sheng, you've been in Shangshan Ruoshui for 2 months. How do you like it here? It's good. I can learn a lot, Qin Sheng said with a smile. I had a chat with old Su just now and asked about your situation. He said that you're working very hard here, and Qing spoke very highly of you. The reception department is currently planning to add another deputy manager. Do you have any thoughts about it? Xue Qingyan said with a smile. The former words were true, but the latter words were half true. This was obviously not Su Lanqing's intention, but she took the initiative to ask Su Lanqing. Su Lanqing said he wanted to ask Jiang Xianbang's opinion, but for Xue Qingyan, Jiang Xianbang would definitely agree. Qin Sheng was surprised and replied, Sister, I just came here not long ago. I'm afraid I'm not up to the task. Besides, there are many qualified and capable candidates in the reception department. People strive for higher places, water flows to lower places. You are not planning to stay here for the rest of your life. In this way, you can also learn more things. When the time comes, you can leave this place, Xue Qingyan said kindly. Obviously, she had already pointed out a bright future for Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng was deep in thought. The old man said calmly, Qingyan is right. It's good for you to train here. Don't get too involved. Sometimes you can't think too much. I think you're up to the task. I'll talk to old Su later. Since Xue Qingyan and the old man had already said so, Qin Sheng thought about it and agreed with them. Jiang Xianbang had asked him to come to Shangshan, Ruoshui, first to train him. However, Qin Sheng was worried that if he was promoted to deputy manager, the others would complain, especially Brother Liu, who had the most experience. Qin Sheng was brought up by Brother Liu, and they were so close. Sister, I'll listen to you. Qin Sheng nodded. That's more like it, Xue Qingyan replied with a smile. She really wanted to train Qin Sheng well. She felt that it was a waste of Qin Sheng's talent to stay in Shangshan, Ruoshui. If it wasn't for the fact that she didn't want him to feel uncomfortable, she would have arranged a better position for him. After chatting with Xue Qingyan and the old man for more than an hour, they still had to attend the banquet. Qin Sheng sent them off. Before he left, Xue Qingyan reminded him that tomorrow was the weekend and he should not forget what he had promised. Only then did Qin Sheng remember that he had to tutor Xue Hao. Xue Hao was getting closer and closer to him. Last night, Xue Hao had sent him a WeChat message asking if there were any such websites. Qin Sheng scolded him harshly. It was the day shift this week, and Chang Baji was nowhere to be found. Qin Sheng did not go home after work, but went to Chang Baji's garden bungalow on Middle Huaihai Road. It was Jiang Xianbang's birthday today. Jiang Xianbang did not have a gathering with his friends and did not invite anyone. It was just Qin, and Qin Sheng. Qing even cooked for him, so Qin Sheng could only benefit from it. On the phone, Qin Sheng was troubled about what gift to buy for Jiang Xianbang. Jiang Xianbang did not lack anything, so he did not know what to buy. Luckily, Jiang Xianbang said that he did not want to buy anything and only brought one person. Qin Sheng said bluntly, "I'm having a headache. Since you don't want to buy anything, then I won't buy anything. Ha ha ha." Jiang Xianbang was so angry that he scolded Qin Sheng. When Qin Sheng arrived at the garden bungalow, Jiang Xianbang was drinking tea and watching TV in the living room. Although Qin Sheng did not buy a gift, he bought some fruits on the way. Otherwise, he would have been embarrassed to come empty-handed. "Old man, you seem to be having a good time," Qin Sheng joked as he passed the fruits to the butler. Jiang Xianbang laughed. "It's rare to have such a good time. I have a filial son and daughter, so it would be strange if I didn't enjoy it." "You're taking advantage of me again. Do you believe that my grandfather will talk to you in your dreams tonight?" Qin Sheng said impatiently. The daughter was naturally Qing. He could not be the son, so Qin Sheng did not want to lose out. Jiang Xianbang laughed and said, "Don't. I'm really afraid of your grandfather. Su Lanchang called me and said that Xue Qingyan wants you to be the assistant manager of the reception department. He asked me what I think." Qin Sheng was planning to walk around the kitchen to see how the beautiful Qing Er's cooking was. If she was not good enough, he would order takeout. Qin Sheng stopped and said, "What do you think?" "Of course I agree. I even agree if you want to be the general manager. What's a small assistant manager of the reception department? This Xiao Su is really too much, asking me for this kind of trivial thing," Jiang Xianbang scolded. Qin Sheng had already thought it through and did not want to be long-winded. He replied, "Of course, who doesn't want to be a leader? I'm just afraid that you're thinking too much. That's more like it. I'll keep the general manager of Shangshan Ruoshui for you. When the time comes, I'll transfer Su Lancheng to the company," Jiang Xianbang said half-jokingly, but it was also the truth. Su Lancheng was no longer useful here, but this position would be of great help to Qin Sheng. For example, not long after Qin Sheng came to Shangshan Ruoshui, he had already hooked up with Xue Qingyan. He could even make Xue Qingyan take the initiative to tell Su Lancheng about this. So Jiang Xianbang asked, "How did you hook up with Xue Qingyan? She's not simple." Chapter 93. Everyone was stunned. It was a coincidence that Qin Sheng and Xue Qingyan got to know each other. On the first day he arrived at Shangshan Ruoshui, he met Ms. Chong Sam, and then he got involved with Xue Hao. Until the end of the trip to Nanjing, they got closer and closer. However, what happened in Nanjing gave Qin Sheng a new understanding of Ms. Chong Sam. So he had to figure out these things to ensure that he would not lose his sense of propriety when he got along with Ms. Chong Sam in the future. "Xue Qingyan and I have known each other for several years. I have some relationship with her father. We met on various occasions and got along well with each other. When I established Shangshan Ruoshui, she took the initiative to participate," Jiang Xianbang explained slowly. Shangshan Ruoshui involved a lot of his connections and resources. He wanted Qin Sheng to go to Shangshan Ruoshui because he wanted Qin Sheng to inherit his resources. However, how much he could inherit depended on Qin Sheng's ability. After all, these were his resources. If one day he was gone, everyone might not give him face. As for Xue Qingyan's background, it is indeed not simple. Her family is based in Zhejiang. Her father used to be an old leader with a high position. After he retired, he still has a lot of power. Her brother also started in Zhejiang and moved to Shanghai step by step. This is the beginning of a new chapter in his life. Now he also has the right to speak in the city. If you're interested, you can check it out. It will be clear at a glance which surname is Xue. If you can maintain a good relationship with her, it will be a lot of good for you in the future," Jiang Xianbang continued. Qin Sheng nodded thoughtfully and said, "No wonder. It seems that I have to rely on her in the future. You haven't told me how you got so close to her." Jiang Xianbang was curious. Qin Sheng did not hide and said honestly, "Anyway, it's a mess. I met her on the first day. I went to Shangshan Ruoshui. Then I got to know her nephew, Xue Hao, and then I accompanied her to Nanjing some time ago. There was an accident, and I was injured and stayed in the hospital for a week. Jiang Xianbang's face changed slightly. You didn't tell me about this? I was afraid that you would worry. Qin Sheng laughed. Jiang Xianbang said meaningfully, Qin Sheng, don't do this kind of stupid thing again. Some things can't be rushed. Just do it step by step. Don't lose more than you gain. Qin Sheng knew what Jiang Xianbang meant and replied, Uncle Jiang, I understand. It was just an accident. After chatting for a while, Qin Sheng ran to the kitchen to see if the beautiful Qing Er's sumptuous dinner was ready. In Qin Sheng's eyes, Qing was the kind of beauty who did not eat the food of the mortal world. He felt that it was a waste to let such a beauty cook. In the kitchen, Qing was cooking, and there were 2 servants helping her. Seeing the delicious food on the table, Qin Sheng joked, I didn't expect that you could cook. I thought you were the kind of beautiful woman who drank tea, played the piano, listened to songs, and listened to beautiful songs. Qing who had her hair coiled up and was cooking in an apron, turned around and glared at Qin Sheng. Do you think I'm like you, lazy and gluttonous? Qin Sheng chuckled and said, Humph, you make it sound like I'm useless. I can also cook, okay? Do you want me to show you what I'm capable of? Qing retorted, No, I'm afraid that we will have to go to the hospital after eating. Qin Sheng laughed and stopped bickering. He just asked, Do you need help? No, if you really want help, then disappear from the kitchen so that you don't disturb me. Qing poured the dishes on the plate, looked at the soup next to her, and snorted. Qin Sheng shrugged. This beauty really did not like him. He could only leave so that he would not be an eyesore. After more than 10 minutes, Qing who had already taken off her apron, came out of the kitchen and shouted to Jiang Xianbang and Qin Sheng in the living room, Dinner is ready. Let's go and taste our chef Qing Er's cooking. It's really hard for you. Uncle will give you a big red packet later. Jiang Xianbang said happily. He had worked hard for most of his life, but when it was time to retire, he had no children and no wife. He had earned such a big business, and when the time came, he did not know who to leave it to. Donate it to the country or to welfare organizations. Jiang Xianbang really did not have such a high state. Who knew whose pocket it would go to in the end? Fortunately, God did not completely cut off his way out and left him Qing Now, there was Qin Sheng. When he was about to reach 60 years old, he finally had sustenance and comfort. In the classic and exquisite dining room, there were 6 dishes and 1 soup on the yellow rosewood table. This was what Jiang Xianbang had told them, not to make too much. There were only 3 of them. Too much would be a waste. After experiencing the era of famine, Jiang Xianbang was very frugal when it came to eating, and as long as he could eat his fill, he did not need to eat the delicacies of the Manchu Han imperial feast. After all, he was a person who came out of hard times. There was a cake in front of Jiang Xianbang, which was specially customized by Qing. In the middle of the cake, there was a man with a big belly, holding an 18 candles in his hand, and the words, Forever Young Uncle, were written below. Qin Sheng lit the candle, and Qing said with a red face, Uncle, make a wish. Jiang Xianbang rarely celebrated his birthday, unless sometimes it happened to happen, or others deliberately prepared it for him. These years, except for business trips, most of the time as long as he was in Shanghai, Qing would accompany him to celebrate his birthday. She either took the initiative to cook, or they ate together. This girl was very filial to him, and she did not dote on him in vain. Jiang Xianbang closed his eyes, smiling and thinking. Qin Sheng and Qing sang happy birthday to Jiang Xianbang. When they finished singing, Jiang Xianbang also opened his eyes and directly blew out the candles. Jiang Xianbang was in a good mood today. He asked the housekeeper to take out a bottle of Shifeng wine. Knowing that Qin Sheng liked this, Qing did not stop him. After all, today was her uncle's birthday. Therefore, Qin Sheng accompanied Jiang Xianbang to drink. Jiang Xianbang sighed and said, I really have no regrets in my life today. At this age, I have wine, meat, and women. The most important thing is that I have you two now. Even if I die in the next second, this life is worth it. Uncle, don't say such words. You will live a long life. Qing said unhappily. Jiang Xianbang laughed and said, "Yes, live a long life. I haven't lived enough. If I live for another 50 years, I won't leave even if the king of hell comes." Ha ha. The dinner lasted for 1.5 hours. Jiang Xianbang drank and talked merrily. He laughed and scolded the people and things he had met in these years. Qin Sheng and Qing were onlookers. One was responsible for drinking, and the other was responsible for pouring wine. Anyway, they just had to accompany the birthday boy. When Qin Sheng first came to Shanghai to study, he always felt a little uncomfortable when he met Jiang Xianbang. However, after experiencing a lot of things and returning to Shanghai, Qin Sheng felt that Jiang Xianbang was very suitable. He also understood more and more why his grandfather had such a good relationship with him, and why he pointed out a path for a third-rate player who dug graves and sold his ancestors' inheritance. If a person's heart was weak and kind, he would definitely do good in everything. If a person's heart was evil, he would definitely do evil in everything. Jiang Xianbang, who had a good capacity for liquor, might be drunk tonight. After drinking a bottle of wine, he was helped back to the room by Qin Sheng and Qing Rest. Qing thought that Qin Sheng would not leave tonight, so she prepared a guest room for him. Who knew that Qin Sheng would go back in the end? Qing wanted to see him off, but Qin Sheng declined. In Shangshan Ruoshui, Su Lancheng and Mizhen had not gotten off work. There were no guests at this time. Su Lancheng called Mizhen into his office and said directly, "Mizhen, I'm going to add a deputy manager position in the reception department." Mizhen was a little surprised. Really? The reception department should add another deputy manager. This way, it can also reduce the pressure of the other two deputy managers. I think Liu Yuan is more suitable. After all, he is the most senior in the reception department. If it wasn't for that incident in the past, he would have been a deputy manager by now. I already have someone in mind. You don't need to recommend him. Su Lancheng waved his hand and interrupted. Mizhen frowned. You already have someone in mind. Who is it? Qin Sheng. Jiang Xianbang said slowly. Hearing these two words, Mizhen was stunned. From Su Lancheng's attitude and what they expected, she knew that Qin Sheng was not simple. However, she did not expect that Qin Sheng, who had just come to Shangshan Ruoshui for less than 2 months, would be promoted to deputy manager. Isn't this a little too rushed? Mizhen knew that once the news got out, the security department would be in chaos. No one would be convinced, especially those who had the qualifications to be deputy managers. Su Lancheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. Mizhen, some things are not up to me. Do you remember what I said earlier? If you still don't understand, then you are very wrong. I know that Qin Sheng is here to gain experience, but Mizhen gritted her teeth. Su Lancheng interrupted again. No buts. First, tell me if Qin Sheng has the ability to be a deputy manager. Yes, he does. Mizhen did not deny Qin Sheng's ability. In 2 months, he had already surpassed those who had been here for 2 years. Only Liu Yuan and a few others could be compared to him. Su Lancheng said firmly, "Then it's settled. Don't leak any information. I will announce it tomorrow morning." The next morning, at the security department's regular meeting, Su Lancheng rarely appeared. After Mizhen finished her speech as usual, she said to a group of people below, "Next, Manager Su will announce a new personnel appointment." Qin Sheng, Liu Yuan, Song Siyu, and Tang Wan stood together. Yu Fengji and Wang Haichao stood in front, together with Ms. In and Su Lancheng. Everyone was wondering what the new personnel appointment was about. Manager Su had to go to the reception department personally to announce it. Except for Su Lancheng and Ms. In, only Qin Sheng knew what was going on. Do you know what's going on? Song Siyu asked Brother Liu in a low voice. After all, Brother Liu often contacted Ms. In. Liu Yuan obviously did not know. He shook his head and said, "I don't know." Song Siyu looked at Qin Sheng and said, "Qin Sheng, do you know?" Qin Sheng did not want to be a hypocrite. He said in a low voice, "Yes, Manager Su will tell everyone." At this time, Su Lancheng slowly went up to the stage and said, "Due to the importance of the reception department, the company has decided to add a deputy manager to the reception department." After Su Lancheng finished speaking, The audience instantly burst into an uproar. Even Yu Fengji and Wang Haichao's faces changed slightly. Why did they not hear the news? What was going on? They looked at Ms. In and Su launching blankly. Below, the candidates who were likely to be the deputy manager were also looking forward to it. On Qin Sheng's side, Song Siyu and Tang, one had already congratulated Brother Liu. Song Siyu said happily, "Brother Liu, this deputy manager is definitely you." "That's right, Brother Liu. It's your turn." Tang Wan echoed. Although Liu Yuan said it modestly, he also felt that if they really wanted to add more candidates, this deputy manager position was obviously no one but himself. After Su Lanchang finished keeping everyone in suspense, he waited for the voices below to gradually quiet down before he continued. After careful discussion within the company, the new deputy manager of the reception department is. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the final answer. The last few possible candidates had their hearts beating faster. Qin Sheng. Su Lancheng shouted the answer. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.